Saturday mornings at 9 on News Talk STL 1019. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Hey, it's your buddy Todd Showalter from The Right Mind Show. For 25 years, offices, hotels, restaurants, and churches have been saving money and time by shopping at discountcoffee.com. They offer the largest selection of name brand coffee, tea, cappuccino, break room supplies, and free shipping to your home or office. Plus, get an extra 15% off when you use the coupon code RightMind. That's discountcoffee.com. Order now at discountcoffee.com.
Are you tired of hard chlorinated water drying your skin out, tasting bad, and ruining your fixtures? Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to this pollution. Our Hydratech H2O leaves you with great tasting, soft water at all fixtures in your home with one unit. Call Jones Air and Water at 636-899-1040 or visit us on the web at joneswater.com. You can be a filter or buy a filter. Jones Air and Water, 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
When it's important to you,
stay informed.
It's on News Talk STL.
I mean, look, Joe Biden has weakened this country at home and abroad.
Joe Biden's Bidenomics has led to the loss of $10,000 of spending power for the average family.
News, analysis, and opinion.
Treasured community event has been disrupted by acts of violence.
But you see the polls have come out, and I'm leading by 50 and 60 points.
1019 and 94.1.
Gotta know what's happening.
News Talk STL.
Yeah. It's not my job to answer your questions. Your job to answer mine. How can I believe you?
I don't care if you do or you don't.
The Killer Interview with Piers Morgan, streaming now on Fox Nation, part of Fox Justice. Sign up now and get your first 3 months of Fox Nation for $1.99.
Now, a look at what's happening from the Fox News Rundown.
Good morning. It's Thursday, September 21st. This is the Fox News Rundown. A procedural vote scheduled in the House today on a defense appropriations bill seen as a test vote for the latest stopgap spending plan from House Republicans. They're hoping to prevent a partial government shutdown at the end of the month. The tentative agreement would cut spending by about $130 billion, but insulate defense, homeland security, and veterans affairs from any cuts. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky visits the White House later today, where he is expected to ask Congress for more aid in his country's fight against Russia. The U.S. has already sent upwards of $113 billion to Ukraine since the conflict with Russia began. President Biden is asking Congress to approve $24 billion in more aid to Ukraine. I'm Sue Guzman on the Fox News Rundown.
This is the Fox News Rundown.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1 and newstalkstl.com. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Thursday, how bad was Joe Biden's bumbling before the UN? Dakota Wood at 425. And how about helping veterans in our region, the Gateway Warrior Foundation, Brett Leary?
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Investment advisory and financial planning services offered through Simplicity Wealth, LLC, SEC registered investment advisor. Insurance, consulting, and education services offered through Serenity Wealth Management.
Are you or someone you know providing or managing care for a loved one today? Did you know there could be more cost-efficient solutions for funding long-term care, even those currently living in a skilled care facility today? Financial strategist and long-term care specialist Chris Cooper of Serenity Wealth Management can show you tax-efficient strategies available to help your family manage care concerns, whether planning for the future or managing care for a loved one today. Solutions exist to provide the financial peace of mind you deserve.
Hi, I'm Chris Cooper, and I'd love to send you a free copy of my new book, A CPA's Guide to Tax-Free Strategies for Long-Term Care. You'll learn about strategies to empower you and your family, protect your savings, and make sure your loved ones get the quality of care they deserve.
Request your free copy of Chris's book by visiting SerenityLTC.com. That's SerenityLTC.com.
Hey, Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros. When Christine and I bought our new house, we knew the gutters were an issue, and after meeting the Gutter Pros team, we knew that they were right for us. Gutter Pros is your all-in-one gutter service team that offers a variety of affordable solutions, and they even offer free estimates, so there's no cost to you to find out if they are right for your home, just like they were for ours. If you're having a problem with your gutters, contact the Gutter Pros now, because with Gutter Pros, water goes where they tell it to. Call them at 314-656-7195 or visit gutterpros.com.
Get ready for winter by making sure your family is warm and safe when the bone-chilling weather gets here. Mike Ferguson here for Anton's Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Energy Experts. Call them today to get your furnace tune-up. It's only $89, and it could save you hundreds or even thousands by preventing a breakdown. 314-338-3941 or antonshvac.com. Anton's installed our HVAC system, and we love it. Put their expertise and excellent customer service to work for you, just like they did for my house. antonshvac.com.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, if you own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles, listen up. CarShield is a low-cost monthly vehicle protection plan now available to you. This protection plan is at an all-time low price. Please call 800-925-7584 for a free quote. Drivers who activate today will also receive free roadside assistance and towing at no additional cost. That is 800-925-7584 right now. On this Thursday, Senator Mitt Romney has announced he will not seek re-election in Utah, bringing out rabid partisans on both sides to malign him. So what does that say about Mr. Romney himself? Not much. I have known the senator for more than 20 years and believe his legacy is mixed. As governor, he ran the very liberal Commonwealth of Massachusetts pretty well. As senator, he lost his way feuding with Donald Trump. As a presidential candidate running against Barack Obama in 2012, Mitt Romney totally blew it. In fact, one of the few arguments I had with Roger Ailes, the boss at Fox News, was over Romney. I was reporting that although President Obama had some major weaknesses in his quest for re-election, Romney was far too timid in pointing them out. It was almost as if he feared Obama. Therefore, I analyzed Mitt was likely to lose. Well, Mr. Ailes did not like my take. Fine. But I wasn't going to modify it because that was true. And Romney did lose. I took no pleasure in that, but my job is to call him as I see him. The Trump thing was stupid. The former president called Romney a loser. The senator despised him for doing that. So Romney voted to convict Trump in both Pelosi trumped-up impeachments. Foolish. On balance, Mitt Romney is a flawed patriot, as many of us are. Back after this.
Cut through the noise. Watch the No Spin News with Bill O'Reilly every weekday at 8 p.m. Eastern on the First TV. No spin, just facts. Hard-hitting analysis that's always looking out for you. That's the Bill O'Reilly Guarantee. Find us on DirecTV Channel 347 or take us with you on the go. Download the free First TV app today and never miss an episode. Bill O'Reilly and the No Spin News, your reliable source of news. When you need it, where you need it.
That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. A few light showers are possible throughout the evening, even overnight into Thursday morning, a low of 64. A high of 82. The best chance of rain Thursday is in the morning, but we could still see a spot shower, thunder shower in the afternoon to early evening. Again, a high of 82 with mostly cloudy skies Thursday. 82 on Friday, 50% chance for some scattered showers or a thunder shower. That's the latest First Alert 4 forecast. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
where callers won't be canceled.
It's just so ridiculous and so offensive.
And we don't socially distance from differing opinions.
I couldn't disagree with you more. I haven't always agreed with you.
Free speech is alive and well in America right here.
This country is worth fighting for.
That's why we're canceling those season tickets. That's why we're canceling those subscriptions.
I'm just so sick and tired of it.
Disgust us.
It's insanity, man.
This is News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. Let's get the day started right. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
The Federal Reserve makes another decision regarding interest rates. What does it mean to you, our friends, the experts over at Stifel? Going to be with us here a little bit later on this morning. Eric Robert, of course, from the On the Money radio show, has got the voice of reason for us and look ahead at what we can plan for. I'm Mike Ferguson. Happy Thursday to you. Thanks for making News Talk STL part of your day. It is official. 1 week from today, the first impeachment inquiry of Joe Biden, the first hearing in that entire process, is going to happen in Washington, D.C. Okay, what does that mean? Where do we go from here? How should it be done? All of these are really, really important questions. And that's why we connected with our friend Joe Cunningham from redstate.com. He just wrote an article about that. So we kind of looked at what he wrote, dug into it just a little bit deeper, and here's what he had to say.
So basically, Joe, here we go. And what can we expect in the first round of all this?
So it looks like we're not, for next Thursday, we're not going to get anything new. Basically, the impeachment inquiry hearing that we're going to get next Thursday is going to be them setting the foundation for what's to come. So they're going to go over the stuff that we already know about, the communications, the former business partner who came forward and spoke to the House, what we know right now that the House Oversight Committee that James Comer has released. But what's interesting is that the Oversight Committee is also now subpoenaing the bank records of Hunter and James Biden in order to, I think, go on their next leg of their investigation, which would be to see if those bank records indicate any of the money that Hunter Biden was paid for any of this stuff that Joe Biden appears to have helped with, if any of that money went directly to Joe Biden. And if it did, well, that's going to be one of the nails in the coffin that the Republicans are really looking for here. But we're not really expecting anything new next week. But this is going to be a problem for Joe Biden, because when it's just a House Oversight Committee hearing and they're dropping all this stuff, the media can ignore that. It's just another partisan committee doing partisan things. But when it's an impeachment inquiry, that's really different. That's major. That's a major news development. The media has to cover it. And even if the media goes on to say this is why it's wrong, they haven't proven anything, they do their usual defense of Joe Biden. The fact that it's out there, the fact that the media has to cover it, means more people get exposed to the Republicans' allegations here. And we're already seeing polling that shows there's a significant number of voters that think that Joe Biden may have done something inappropriate here.
Good morning, Joe. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So, yeah, that's where my question is going. How long do you think it'll take of these impeachment inquiry hearings and hitting the news for it to really, really sink in with the public? Because because of the level of defense that we know is going to come out of the mainstream media, at some point we may hit that tipping point of understanding in the public, and that may set the tone for the election. How long do you think that'll take?
I don't think it'll take very long at all. Like I said, we've seen polling. Even CNN released a poll last week that showed that a number of Americans do believe that Joe Biden was in some way involved, and a significant number, not near a majority, but a significant enough number, do believe he may have done something inappropriate either as vice president or as president trying to defend his son. So it's not going to take very long for American sentiment to sour on that. And considering the media's defense, the media does not have much credibility with the American public. When you look at approval ratings for American institutions, the media is low near Congress. A lot of Americans believe that they're being fed biased information no matter the news source. So the very fact that the allegations will be out there And no matter what the anchors or the fact checkers or anybody say, the allegations being out there, that's what Americans are going to focus on. And that's why I think this is such a problem for the Biden administration. The Republicans, I believe, based on just what would be good political strategy here, the Republicans don't need to rush to an impeachment vote. They just need to let this impeachment inquiry, this investigation run as long as it can, because the more they flood the zone with the allegations and the evidence they have, the more that whittles away the American public's confidence in Joe Biden.
So if you've got the ear of the Republicans who are running this inquiry, what's the advice that you give them, Joe? I mean, to say, all right, if you're going to do this right, because I think we all know that Joe Biden is not being removed from office through conviction. You know, the Senate dominated by Democrats, run by Democrats, not going to remove him. And so, you know, we had a conversation earlier this week about, well, why bother doing it? And former Congressman Bob Barr, who managed the impeachment against Bill Clinton, said essentially what you were saying is because the American public deserves to know the facts about what happened and didn't happen. So how do you do that the right way to get the facts out there, whatever those facts are?
In my opinion, if James Comer and the Oversight Committee were listening to me, I would be saying, like you said, don't need to rush into this. You're not going to get a conviction. Right now, you may not even get it out of the House if you went to a vote right now. But the more information you put out there, the more that weakens Joe Biden. We're 3.5 months away from 2024 and the election season really getting underway. And when Joe Biden's having to defend himself on the economy, which is still getting worse, inflation is creeping back up, oil prices are creeping back up, inflation, I mean, just people, the White House is telling everybody the economy is so much better, and nobody in America really feels that outside of upper-class Democratic enclaves on the coast. The Biden administration is contending with that. They're contending with this auto workers strike. They're contending with the Hunter Biden indictment and now this impeachment inquiry. Biden's having to fight a lot of battles right now. And when we get into 2024, as the impeachment inquiry keeps going, he's going to have to fight that as well as all the other stuff just from his administration standpoint. And he's showing his age. There was a story in the Washington Post yesterday about how Democrats are feeling anxiety over Joe Biden's age and the fact that Americans don't feel confident in somebody Joe Biden's age running again. I mean, if the Republicans just flood the zone with the evidence, they whittle away. The best impeachment is the American voters doing it themselves, the ballot box. So get the information out there. And, yeah, right before the election or right after the election, go ahead and file the articles. But if you do it too soon before and you get it, you do it too close to the election, the American public's going to remember the Republicans, fired this one shot and it went nowhere. Maybe there's nothing there. Flood the zone, let the American public make up their minds on it, because the Democrats set the precedent. You can go and impeach somebody after they've left office, so why not wait until then?
Joe, I in my view, I think the Democrats kind of have two paths that they can take here with Joe Biden. Either they continue to do what they've been doing. They constantly defend. They stay on the defensive through the election and hope that he survives the onslaught, as you said, of the Republicans flooding the zone with all this information. Or they do the sort of quiet retirement thing where maybe they make up a health excuse or some other reason why he's got to step back away from the campaign, and he can do so with some measure of dignity rather than summary dismissal, but instead bring in, I don't know, like a Gavin Newsom or something like that to fill the shoes. Which way do you think they're going to go?
The Democrats, I think, want to replace him with a Gavin Newsom or somebody like that. They have two problems there. One, Joe Biden is too stubborn to go down like that. He's not going to. A lot of people forget that Joe Biden already backed out of a campaign once. After Barack Obama's term was over, Joe Biden was given the opportunity to run as his successor, but it was right after the death of Beau Biden, and he said, no, I need to be with my family right now. So he sat out for 4 years and then came back and ran again, and his age has shown significantly between the time he was vice president and the time he was running for president. he came back because there was nobody else in the party to really unite the Democrats. I mean, that's the thing Republicans have to remember is Joe Biden was the only one who could unite the party in 2020. I think he's too stubborn to back down just based on what we've heard coming out of the White House. But if the Democrats decide to retire Joe Biden and they don't go with Kamala Harris, that's going to cause even more problems for the Democrats. I mean, she's the vice president. She is the first female vice president. She's the first black vice president. I mean, they touted the identity of Kamala Harris more than her accomplishments or anything like that. So if they all of a sudden decide we need a new candidate and they don't go with her, that's going to cause division in the Democratic Party. There's going to be no way to really heal any of that, any of those divisions that would cause those fractures. It would just be another moment of chaos for the Democrats at a time when they can't afford anymore.
Looking at some of the names on the committee that's beginning the impeachment inquiry hearing, James Comer leading that, this is an attack dog. I mean, this is somebody who's aggressive, but he's also very aggressive on getting documentation. What's the value in having somebody like that as opposed to somebody who is partisan only? And, of course, I would say Comer is partisan and also detailed.
I think that what they really need is they need an attack dog. I mean, no matter partisan or not, I mean, we know that this is impeachment is almost always partisan, with very few exceptions. Anybody pushing for in articles of impeachment or anything like that is done for a partisan reason. So partisanship really doesn't matter here. What matters is, do you have somebody who can coherently go out and attack the Biden administration and attack Joe Biden and his ties to Hunter and Hunter's business? Do you have somebody that can do that coherently in a way that Americans can understand? And basically what we're seeing is that, James Comer can do that. But also look at the other Republican members on there. You have Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan's a solid conservative. You have Nancy Mace. Nancy Mace is very popular on the Oversight Committee. There are a lot of Republicans on that committee who feel no need to hold back. I mean, there's several Republicans on there who, they're not, the most conservative, not the most outspoken conservative members, but you don't see a whole lot of what we would call moderate Republicans on there who could derail this. And the Republican Party as a whole, they know the Democrats will not hesitate to do this to the next Republican candidate. So why should they hold back?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, without a doubt. All right, the article is called "The First Impeachment Inquiry Hearing Has Been Scheduled for Next Week." Very simple title. You can find it at redstate.com. It was written by Joe Cunningham. Joe, how do people follow you on social media? Where do we find you?
You can find me, all my stuff over at Red State. You can also find me on Twitter at Joe P. Cunningham.
The News Roundup comes your way here in just about 2.5 minutes on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. Speech is alive and well in America.
Thanks for taking my call.
Right here.
You know what's going on?
Have a great awakening.
You see through the smoke screen.
It's cool to be woke.
News Talk STL.
Until it's not.
News, analysis, opinion.
Hey, I'd like you to get to know Dr. Daniel Cusimano and Dr. Megan Dwyer. Those are dentists and my dental team, along with their dental team at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles. You know, whether it's economic value with their dental savings plan and their real concern about giving you value, which is, of course, quality at a great price, or whether it's their personal values, their dedication to absolute precision. I can tell you when I go in and get my treatment there or just a cleaning, whatever, it's always, I get this feeling it's like laser guided precision. Well, yeah, they have have lasers, but they don't do that for everything, of course. It's the right tool for the right job. Whether it is dental implants, whether it's just general dentistry, cosmetic dentistry, and by the way, he can use some Botox in all the right ways for those applications as well. You'll find the greatest of care, the greatest value, delivered with people who have real values, the values we share at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles. Get to know them by calling 636-978-0226, 636-978-0226, or advanceddentistrynow.com. That's Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss as part of our lineup every week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 3 times every weekend on News Talk STL. And in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
What if the music stopped? If the familiar voices were silenced? If there were no breaking news updates? What if your companion and connection to your community came with a monthly fee? Don't worry, we're free local radio with you wherever you go, celebrating 100 years and looking forward to the next 100. We are broadcasters. Text radio to 52886 and let Congress know you depend on your local TV and radio stations. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
This news update brought to you by Anton's Plumbing and HVAC. Call Anton's at 314-338-3941 or visit them at antonshvac.com.
Hi, it's Dan Bongino here, and I'm proud to be on News Talk STL every weekday from 11 to 2. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, we're now less than a week away from the next presidential debate.
Are you working on the batting order?
Yeah, they are actually kind of jostling back and forth for a stage position.
Oh, okay.
And now we're also finding out there's a candidate or two who was in the first one who may not be allowed in the second one by the RNC.
Okay.
Yeah, because they set new criteria for this one and everything.
How about the other way around? Is it possible we may see someone we didn't see?
No.
Rats.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. All right. Also, don't look now, but there's a lot of illegals rushing the southern border these days. Hey, does New York have more room in their sanctuary?
How about Chicago?
Get the buses ready, people. And leftists are now trying to expand gun control in St. Louis County. I am kind of befuddled how some of these leftists think this is a winning issue for them, but we'll get into that in just a little bit. It is 5:51 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson. That's Stel Ponticus right there. Hey, everybody. I'm waving to everybody who's watching us on the live stream as well. St. Louis County police officers exchanged gunshots with a man in Afton on Wednesday night. Here's what happened. Police were called to the home on Rambler, and it was a domestic situation. The reports don't say domestic violence, but it was some kind of domestic conflict, and pretty much every cop I've ever spoken with will say the call they dread almost as much as anything else is a domestic situation. And police say when the officers arrived, the man was sitting on the porch with a gun in each hand. Police say that both he and the officers ended up firing shots. They tried to de-escalate, and he pointed guns at him anyway. The man, whose name has not been released, was hit. He has life-threatening injuries from the shooting. No officers were hurt. What will happen is that the Missouri Highway Patrol will be brought in to handle the investigation of this anytime there's a police-involved shooting. So just an ugly situation at that particular place. But it just goes to remind you how anything can happen at any point for police officers when they get called to those situations. And who knows what the situation was all about in that home. And it ended up with police officers getting into a gunfight with a guy.
And like you said, domestic situations are that's the one that they dread the most.
I've had police officers tell me, and I remember my dad, who used to be a chaplain for the Illinois State Police, he said that they would much rather get called to a bar fight than a domestic situation, just because of how volatile and people throughout all reason and anything. They'd rather deal with drunks in a bar than they would a domestic violence situation. All right, U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland testified. You know what? Don't worry about it. Still, DOJ has not been politicized, and it's not working in favor of the Biden family. He said so. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Let's go home.
I was a bit stunned.
I want some pancakes. Let's go. All right. So Attorney General Garland says Special Counsel David Weiss was unable to bring charges against Hunter Biden and that he always had the authority to bring charges if he wanted to. Huh?
I don't understand that.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. Congressman Jim Jordan was on Hannity last night on Fox, and he says the Attorney General's story just doesn't line up even with what the Attorney General himself has said previously.
On July 10th, David Weiss tells Senator Graham, I have not sought special counsel authority. Then on August 11th, the Attorney General announces that David Weiss will be a special counsel. What happened in those 32 days? What took place? The whistleblowers came forward with their testimony and the plea deal that they were trying to sweep everything under the rug.
The White House, President Biden still insists that Joe Biden had no knowledge of Hunter Biden's business dealings and had nothing to do with it all.
Every segment I heard from the testimony yesterday, it was like Garland was trying to absolve himself from anything.
That's called sinking ship. I'm on it. Oh, geez. All right. Also known technically as CYA. Locally here, the EPA, this is kind of scary. The EPA tells the city of St. Charles to stop using a water well again. Vinyl chloride was found in water from city well number 4. This is after Ameren installed a barrier designed to limit that chemical and limit that contamination. 6 of the city's 7 wells have now tested positive for contamination in recent months and years. City officials and Ameren blame each other for the program. Man, this is getting ugly.
Didn't we have a discussion with Nick Schroer about this?
Yeah.
And he was very concerned weeks ago.
Oh, yeah. And also you got that. And then, of course, you've also got the, the nuclear, site and the contamination there as well. The city of St. Charles, they're saying, hey, Ameren is doing all this stuff and they're not containing it, and they're suing Ameren, and Ameren's saying it's the city's fault because they interfered with what Ameren's trying to do, and the EPA says just shut the thing down. So this is just getting worse almost by the minute as well. And if you're in St. Charles, they're shutting that down because they say they're trying to keep the water supply safe. As of right now, you just got to talk to your city officials and Ameren about the water quality. Okay, illegal immigration continues at the southern border. Thousands of people are making their way into the U.S. We've got kind of another surge, not as big as some of the recent surges, but still a pretty big surge. Congressman Tony Gonzalez is a Republican out of Texas, and he was on Your World with Neil Cavuto on Fox Business yesterday. He says, in part, basically the problem is, in his words, the cartels simply control the border, and he commented on the number of crossings.
I'm getting reports that there were nearly 3,000 people that crossed illegally today. They're expecting that same number tomorrow, and maybe as upwards of 10,000 by Friday.
Now, here's another thing. He said that American citizens who go into Mexico and back legally, to see family or do whatever, he said they actually may be affected by this because one of the main bridges is close to being closed because of the entire negligence of the Biden administration and the situation.
Eagle Pass, I think it's singular.
Yeah.
It's getting overrun.
Oh, yeah, that's a good word. Overrun. Completely overrun.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And the thing is that, we could probably do a segment every day on the illegal immigration crisis. We know it's there, but it just falls out of the headlines from time to time. And so I would just kind of want to remind everybody, this is still a huge, huge issue that affects every state in the country. Once again, Governor Abbott, get the buses ready. Let's get them ready to send up to the sanctuary cities. All right, the Brewers scored 3 in the first inning and did not look back. Cardinals took another one on the chin at Busch Stadium last night. Cardinals pitchers gave up 3 home runs in all, and that was part of an 8-2 loss. Final game of the series is the early one today. First pitch is at 12:15. Miles Michaelis is on the mound for the Redbirds, and then they head to San Diego, I think.
Yes, San Diego and Milwaukee to face the Brewers again.
Oh, okay.
School choice is an idea whose time has come. It's flourishing in many states, just not in Missouri. Take charter schools, a great alternative for parents whose kids may be trapped in a failing school district. But charter schools are currently only available to families in just 3 of 520 school districts: Kansas City, the city of St. Louis, and Normandy. Open enrollment allows students to enroll in a district other than the one in which they live. It's important because rural schools may not offer all the advanced classes larger districts do. Open enrollment does exist in Missouri, but participation is highly restricted. And the Empowerment Scholarship Account, or ESA program, needs to be expanded so many more parents of students with disabilities and low-income students can access it. Charter schools, open enrollment, ESAs. If they're good for some children, they should be good for all children. Check out our 2023 blueprint, Moving Missouri Forward, at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
It's your last chance to cut a deal at Seidenstricker Nobe Partners. Save up to $5,000 on select John Deere compact tractor packages with our exclusive 10-year warranty. And we're offering 0% financing for 60 months with zero down. Get your John Deere equipment by shopping online or visiting us at any of our 28 locations. Let's cut a deal now before it's too late. snpartners.com.
Offer valid through 9/30/2023. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Getting a new floor for your home can be intimidating and a little scary, but that's not the case when you go to Michael's Flooring Outlet. Katie here, and my mom and dad used Michael's, and they had a great experience. They've been a locally owned and operated family business for more than 30 years. You want variety? Michael's has carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, and many other options. Shop in-store at one of their 3 locations in Creve Coeur, Dardine Prairie, or St. Peters. Check out everything that Michael's has to offer at igotfloored.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
I'm Rich Thomason. After spending a couple of days at the UN, Ukrainian President Zelensky is now in Washington. His visit comes as President Biden looks to send tens of billions of dollars more to Ukraine.
President Biden is seeking an additional $24 billion in military and humanitarian aid for Ukraine. But approval of that request is in doubt because of a growing partisan divide in Congress. Some House Republicans want to cut U.S. assistance, and Speaker Kevin McCarthy prefers that Ukraine aid be debated as a standalone bill.
White House correspondent Greg Clugston back in Ukraine. There were Russian missile strikes across the country overnight. The attack started fires, killing at least 2 people, according to Ukrainian officials. House Republicans, members of the Judiciary Committee, grill Attorney General Garland over allegations of political weaponization of the Department of Justice.
The Attorney General indicated he couldn't remember speaking to anyone at the FBI about the Bureau's Hunter Biden investigations.
I don't recollect the answer to that question.
He also said he had followed his pledge not to interfere in the Hunter investigation, but declined to say whether or how often he had spoken with the newly appointed Special Counsel David Weiss, citing the ongoing investigation.
I do not intend to discuss the internal Justice Department deliberations, whether or not I had them.
Edwin Mora, Capitol Hill.
No end in sight to the flood of illegal aliens surging into the U.S. across the southern border. The mayor of the city of Eagle Pass, Texas, says many of them are military-age men from Venezuela. And now the Biden administration wants to make it easier for them to work legally in the U.S. Wall Street Dow futures down 163. More on these stories at townhall.com.
This is Brant along with Sherry here. And so you hear me doing these spots for MediShare, and Sherry actually helps me with them. I get people actually in person saying, okay, Brant, for real, do you recommend this? Like, yeah, for real, I actually do. I'm not just saying stuff. So family, friends ask me about it. I'm like, yes, you should look into this. It's really a great option for a lot of people.
That's what I tell people my experience has been. MediShare has been fantastic for me.
Yeah.
It's so different from health insurance in a lot of great ways, honestly.
Yeah, and see, a lot of people who've switched tell me that. It's the same reaction. They're very, very happy with it, and it gives them peace of mind and saves them a lot of money.
I would tell people, look into it.
Yep. So really, for reals, if you want to talk to them, they're great to talk to. I think you'll be impressed and happy you looked into it. So You do the phone number. I'm actually tired of doing all the phone numbers.
Okay.
Call now.
844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE. 844-41-BIBLE.
Nice job.
Thanks.
Syrian President Assad has arrived in China.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
A little light fog and dampness out there this morning. Temperatures in the low to mid 60s. A cloudy day with some spot showers and maybe a thunderstorm as we get into the afternoon. They're going to be very hit and miss. The high temperature 82 degrees. Very similar tomorrow. Lows tonight in the mid 60s. High tomorrow 82 degrees with a 30% chance of hit and miss showers and thunderstorms. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Mark McCloskey here, and my friend Mike Lindell and his team at MyPillow are having a big sale to celebrate their 20th anniversary and the sale of over 80 million pillows. Mike and his team want to thank everyone by giving you the lowest price in their history. The MyPillow queen-size pillows that are regularly $69.98 are now just $19.98, and for just $10 more, you get a king size. MyPillow's patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs to help you get the best sleep ever. Patty and I have slept on MyPillows for a long time, and we just got our new 2.0 pillows and a set of Giza Dream Sheets, and we love them. Go to MyPillow.com to get queen-size MyPillows for only $19.98 or call 800-645-1392 and use the promo code ONFIRE. In addition to this special anniversary offer on the MyPillows, you will also receive deep discounts on all MyPillow products. Go to MyPillow.com or call 800-645-1392 and use the promo code ONFIRE to unlock these savings.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
It's time that everybody wake up and pay attention.
Live and local.
Recent criminal indictment of Donald Trump.
About the fourth one.
The fourth one, the one he got the free gift with.
Punch card.
I think it's a tote bag.
This is News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
Are you pretending to be crazy? Wow, you're really pumped about this.
Gabe Pfeiffer. Get up, St. Louis.
The best answer to the toxicity of the left is the truth.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right, the Federal Reserve makes news by doing, well, nothing. They didn't change anything this time. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? Okay, just ahead here. Does the White House want as many COVID cases as possible? I know that sounds ridiculous. I'll tell you why I'm asking that question at 6:20. Maybe I'm completely off base again. Maybe. All right. It is 6:06 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson. We've got Gabe Pfeiffer here, of course. We've got Stel Ponticus here, of course. Federal Reserve decided to leave interest rates right where they were. Now, this is where some media goes into the real wonky stuff, and we talk about the interest rates and all of the economic terms, but let's talk about what it actually means to you. We're joined by Ryan Young from the Competitive Enterprise Institute. Ryan, first of all, were you surprised by the decision? Because I was looking at your statements that you issued, and I think that you were hoping they would have done something just a tiny bit differently.
Yeah, the pause isn't harmful, but I was expecting them to raise it by 1/4 of a point just because inflation still is above their target level, and it's looking like it's going to be that way for a while.
Good morning, Ryan. Gabe here. So what do you think their reasoning was in holding off on that increase? Because we were expecting increases kind of up the wazoo in order to, like you said, to match inflation.
Yeah, I really do think they did make a mistake here because one of the big causes of inflation is there's too much money floating around compared to how much real goods and services there are. And in the next few months, we're going to see a big farm bill that could cost as much as $1.5 trillion over the next 10 years. That's $150 billion in new money every year. And we're going to get to see an omnibus spending bill that could add who knows how much to federal spending every year. And if I was the Fed, I would anticipate that by tightening money a little bit right now ahead of time. But at the same time, because inflation is so much lower than it was a year ago, and some interest rates have been moving up on their own anyway, just without any Fed involvement. A pause right now isn't that big a deal, and they still have 2 more meetings this year at which they might do 1 more increase.
Okay, so you brought the spending issue, and obviously, there's the debate and the conflict over the spending bill. Probably something temporary is going to be put into place, maybe a month or 2 here by the end of the month to kind of keep the federal government going. But when you look at all of this insane spending, kind of connect the dots a little bit. I mean, you've got the federal government that is spending a massive amount of money, and this is going back over the last 2 administrations. Where there's just a huge influx of dollars into the economy. And so we talk about that a lot of times, and then we talk about the interest rates a lot of times, but we tend to talk about them separately. What's the connection right here? You've touched on it, but go into a little more depth on that.
Yeah, people think of monetary policy and fiscal policy, taxes and spending, as being separate issues. You're right. They're not. They're intertwined. When the federal government goes on a spending binge, the Federal Reserve, whether it likes it or not, has to help finance that. So one of the things that Chairman Powell's going to have to do if he wants to get inflation under control, he's going to have to hold the line on interest rates. Next year is an election year. We're going to see more spending, and we're also going to see more political pressure for Powell to lower interest rates and put the economy more into stimulus mode so that the numbers look good around election time. He's going to have to hold the line, keep interest rates higher in order to keep inflation low, because frankly, the inflation rate is a lot more important than whoever wins the election next year. So hopefully Powell has his priorities straight.
I think a lot of people have been anticipating continued interest rate increases and trying to manage their personal finances along those lines, or their business interests. They're trying to plan for these things. What should they be doing or expecting at the very least in order to make their future plans?
The Fed is almost done with its increases. Markets are expecting interest rates to be above 5% for at least the next year, at least at present. Right now, they're at a range between 5.25% and 5.5%. So as other interest rates catch up, like mortgages, student loans, car payments, those might be going up a little bit. We've been spoiled somewhat by artificially low interest rates for the last decade and a half, and now they're going up to more, frankly, realistic levels. That doesn't mean it hurts any less, but if that does put any salve on the wound, hopefully there's that. So, basically the government messed up in COVID, sparked a bunch of inflation, and now we're paying the price as well. So there are 2 factors going on. So people might want to budget more for housing, cars, food, pretty much everything, which is really unfortunate, but the government messed up and we have to pay for it.
Yeah, that's and we're visiting with Ryan Young from the Competitive Enterprise Institute. That was leading to what I wanted to ask next, Ryan, which is let's talk about how this is going to be felt, in our homes and in our personal finances. I mean, obviously, the student loans are coming back and those interest rates. I don't think those tend to be set. Maybe somebody's got a set one, but I think a lot of those are fluctuating. Is this something that could affect major purchasing decisions, and what kind of effect could this have on people's liquid savings that we have for emergencies, and what could it affect when it comes to our investments and retirement planning?
Well, fortunately, real wages are finally starting to catch up to inflation, so most people on average are gaining again. But the problem with that is that it always takes time. When inflation starts, you will see gas prices and grocery prices go up almost instantly. They change their prices every day. Whereas people like you and I, when we get a raise, if we get a raise, that'll happen maybe once a year. So it takes a long time for our real wages to catch up to what's going on with inflation. While I am pretty confident we've conquered the worst of inflation, people are still taking a hit if their annual raise hasn't yet caught up to what's happening. So people are going to feel a pinch in their budgeting, probably for a while to come. But hopefully, since we are past the worst, any pain will either be over soon or in the past.
Good morning, Ryan. Stalponticus here. Speaking of whether the worst is over, do you think the UAW strike, if it continues for, let's say, a month or 2, and the various budget issues that we've got, are those going to affect inflation, which personally I think is much higher than the numbers the government is really telling us every day?
I don't think it's going to be that big a deal in the larger macro picture. One reason for that is because the UAW is limiting their strikes to only 3 plants at a time. So that way their strike reserve fund is going to last them a lot longer. So a smaller targeted strike isn't going to have that much of an impact on either car production. And if it does, consumers can turn to Toyotas and lots of other non-union cars that are made in right-to-work states. So it's not nothing, but it's also not that big a deal.
Yeah, I think one of the things a lot of people forget is that when you look at these types of decisions, that there's a decision that's made, and then there's, Ryan, isn't there a little bit of lag time before we start to feel the impact? I mean, I know that there are some changes because people adjust to what's coming, but still the actual effect can take weeks or months.
That's exactly right. And frankly, dealers have a lot of excess inventory on their lots anyway. The gold standard is they want to keep about 50 days worth of inventory physically on their lots. A lot of dealers are up to 60 or 70 days worth. So some of them, because of slow sales, are actually a little bit happy. They wouldn't admit it publicly, but a little happy if there's a little bit of a production slowdown just so they can get their inventory back down where they want it.
All right, Ryan Young from the Competitive Enterprise Institute. Let's go ahead and give out that information, website, social media. People want to connect you with you, or they want to follow what you and your colleagues are doing. What's the best way to do it?
Our website is cei.org, where we have new articles up every day on everything to do with regulation, and you can catch us on Twitter or X or whatever they call it these days. Our handle's at cei.org, where .org is spelled out D-O-T-O-R-G.
All right, Ryan Young, appreciate the update once again.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan.
Okay, just ahead here, we've got a local government once again trying to expand gun control in the area. And does the Biden administration actually want another high number of COVID positive cases documented?
I bet they do.
I suspect it. I'll tell you why. Now, does that mean a lot of people are going to be hurt by COVID this year? No. Probably not.
No.
But do they want the numbers?
I kind of think so.
I suspect they do.
Yeah.
Let's talk about why here in just about 2.5 minutes on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Before you blow us all away. Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin bar. Get up.
Adam, man, your ant parties are the best. I mean, you always find the best kitchens with all the crumbs.
Thanks, man. I love finding these homes to do this at.
Oh, man, who just pulled up?
Oh, no, it's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They seem to kill every one of my parties.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. We'd love to help you out. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Columbo and Katie.
Once I don't have to be here every day, I don't know that I'm ever coming back to the city of St. Louis. Oh, yeah. I mean, I probably will for a baseball game or a Blues game or something like that. Yeah. I love the development. I love that people are still trying to bet on the city. But the thing is, the city leadership is not betting on the city. The city leadership, they are not putting any effort into public safety.
Tony Columbo, Katie Fitzpatrick. Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
In a world where heroes walk among us, shines the David Dorn Foundation. Named after a true hero, our foundation empowers those who risk their lives to protect us every day. We stand tall with unwavering dedication to provide our first responders with equipment often not supplied.
But we can't do it alone. We need your generosity of a few volunteer hours to provide our first responders with the tools they desperately need to save lives and keep our communities safe. Visit dornfoundation.com now to be part of our critical progress.
Hi, it's your buddy Todd Showalter with The Right Mind Show. This Saturday at 5, we're saving America and our sanity with fun guests that'll put a thought in your head and a smile on your face. Kind of like that, don't you? Along with my buddy Joey V and Admiral Andy. Plus, we have King Kirby with DiscountCoffee.com. Hey, we're putting the fun back in our dysfunctional world. It's The Right Mind Show this Saturday at 5, right here on News Talk STL.
Now, the Onder Prescription with Dr. Bob Onder.
I'm Dr. Bob Onder. Overnight, fentanyl has passed heroin and methamphetamine as the most dangerous drugs on our streets. Fentanyl is many times more potent and dangerous than heroin. A lethal dose is 2 milligrams, an amount about the size of a few grains of table salt. A kilogram of fentanyl can kill 500,000 people. Last year, a record 108,000 Americans died of opiate overdoses, most of them from fentanyl. In 2020, I saw this menace coming, and Missouri passed a law to crack down on fentanyl traffickers. But the bigger problem is that most fentanyl now comes from Mexico, and Joe Biden has opened up our southern borders to this poison. If Joe Biden and the Democrats care about the fentanyl epidemic killing tens of thousands of Americans, they need to secure our border. Now. I'm Dr. Bob, and that's my prescription.
Find more Dr. Bob Onder at bobondermo.com. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the Morning here on News Talk STL.
Does the federal government actually want a lot of COVID cases? I mean, the numbers.
I think they do.
Yeah, I think so too. I'll tell you why I'm starting to believe that here in just a minute. By the way, we haven't done this in a little bit. With the second presidential debate for the Republicans coming up less than a week from right now.
Oh yeah, there's like an election or something.
Yeah. We're going to check in
right.
on that race here at 6:35.
Okay.
All right. Okay, it's official. Gun control proposal offered in St. Louis County.
Oh really?
Yeah.
It's here.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Which we kind of knew a few weeks back that this was going to happen, and we'll go into more depth on this in the 7 o'clock hour. But County Council Chair Shalonda Webb, she said publicly after St. Louis City put their ban on open carry, saying if you don't have a CCW,
a concealed carry
permit, you can't open carry, and it's really stupid. So she kind of praised that law that was passed in the city, or the ordinance that was passed in the city, and so she got together with the authors of that bill, including Cara Spencer, and she's now basically proposing the same thing in St. Louis County. So her plan would require a CCW in order to open carry in unincorporated St. Louis County. So basically places where they can try to go and not have, conflicting ordinances or something like that. Here's a quote that she said. She's being quoted in the St. Louis Post-Disgrace. Elderly people feel like they can't come outside because 13-year-olds are walking around with AR-15s.
No. No, that's not happening. You made that up.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It is not happening.
Oh my! She's trying to make it sound like a Mad Max movie over in North County. That's not what it looks like, guys.
Of course, our friend Mark Harder quoted as being in opposition to the bill and that he's going to fight back against it. So we'll go into. Like I said, I'm going to go into more depth a little bit later on, but I am just kind of amazed still that in the Midwest, particularly in Missouri, that leftists think this is a winning issue.
Yeah.
I don't
get it.
Even in a purplish but basically blue county of St. Louis County, I still don't think this is a winning issue in that nobody gains votes by doing this, but you can lose votes.
True. Especially in Missouri. Because look, this is Missouri, man.
Missouri's a red state.
We're a red state.
Yeah, St. Louis City and Kansas City are deep blue dots.
Right.
Jackson County, which is where Kansas City is, and St. Louis County are light blue.
Yes.
I mean, they are definitely blue areas, but this is not one of those issues that you're going to get blue. You're going to make an area bluer.
Right. This doesn't gain you anything because the type of blue that you have, and especially in the county, is the type of blue that still appreciates their guns. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, outside of places like Webster Grove and Maplewood.
Well,
they're
they're a little conclaves.
Yeah,
you
they're
know.
the flaky
yeah.
leftists.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So no, yeah, this isn't going to fly. I mean, now public safety as an issue is something that is of concern to North County residents. I'll tell you that. I'm one of them. But the thing is, I'm not worried about 13-year-olds with AR-15s.
No.
I haven't seen any. I haven't even heard of any.
Yeah.
I'm worried about people breaking into my car in my driveway. My neighbor across the street had her car taken from her driveway.
Oh.
Now they eventually recovered it. Apparently, kids just went on a joyride or something. So now she has a camera now that and my camera is adding a little more coverage. I kind of changed the angle. So just things like that are I think what's driving the public safety conversation in North County. But this idea of open carrying guns somehow is the be all and end all that's making people stay in their houses. That is not it.
Here's the thing. One of the differences between the city and the county is that there's no robust defund the police movement in the county.
True.
There is a vocal one in the city.
True.
That is very popular within City Hall. You don't have that in the county, which tells me that you've got a whole separate population of people who say, no, we want to be protected.
Mm-hmm.
And in the city, it's defund the police and defund the people. And then they wonder why violent crime is so bad.
In our neighborhood watch meetings and things like that around the county, one of the things that is noted very often is the fact that the majority of our major issues, our major crime problems, are imported from the city.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: that you defund the police guys are messing us up too.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, without a doubt. Okay, let me get back to this question that I've asked here. 314-912-1019. The Biden administration announced yesterday that it's going to be funding a new free at-home COVID-19 test kit. You remember when they did that, year and a half ago, 2 years ago?
Oh, yeah, they rolled those out. Everybody had like 12 of them at home.
Yeah, well, some people hoarded them. Then what happened is people just lost interest in them. $600 million to send anybody an at-home COVID test kit. Okay?
Wow.
So here's the thing. I am getting to the point because COVID basically now, if you even notice that you have it, listen, any one of us in this room right now could have COVID.
Yeah.
We could.
Yeah.
I mean, even back at its pinnacle, back in 2020, they've now admitted that, for every case that was known and symptomatic, there was probably at least one case that was completely asymptomatic.
Yes.
I'll give you an example. I mean, it was pretty well known that I was on that first wave of patients and I ended up in the hospital. My daughter was trapped in our house with me for weeks.
Mm-hmm.
There is no way she did not have COVID.
Right. But she didn't have any symptoms.
No, none whatsoever, no symptoms. So as you've got through the whole thing that we went through the whole cycle of the virus that came in and everybody got it, and then we moved on with our lives, and government hasn't moved on with our lives. So why would they want a high number of positive cases? I think they want that to re-implement the controls, to re-implement the goodies that they can hand out that has been just disastrous for our economy over the last two presidential administrations with the insane borrowing and spending. They want to reclaim that ability to enact closures. They want to do all this stuff again. They want that control. One of the ways to do that is if you send all these tests out and somebody says, I feel fine, but sure, I'll swab my nose or whatever. But oh my gosh, I tested positive.
I guess I got to
well,
go.
That's a number. I guess I now am part of the. Listen, my advice: ignore it.
Yeah,
they've already wasted the money, the $600 million. Let them sit in a warehouse and go bad. I can tell you, even if I have symptoms, I'm not going to get a test.
Yeah,
There, I
please
said
don't.
it publicly. I
Yeah.
said it on the radio. I'm going to keep working.
Yeah,
is
well,
what I'm doing, because it's the same thing as having a cold right
it's
now.
the same thing as having a cold. The normal protocol for most people with colds, at least this is how I understand it. This is how I do it. Is if you have the sniffles, you say, "Oh, I have the sniffles." You try to wash your hands a little more often. You try not to cough or sneeze at anybody. You try to try not to spread your little whatever it is around. But for the most part, you just kind of go about your business.
Take an antihistamine.
You take an antihistamine. You try to mitigate the symptoms. If it gets bad enough that you feel like crap for more than like 3 days, that's when you actually seek medical attention. That's when you think, you know what, maybe this is something that might need a Z-Pack or something like that. So and that's kind of when you. But other than that, if this is a cold, treat it like a cold.
Yeah, even if you get the flu.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean.
You know, if you get the flu, you wait it out.
I've had what feels like the flu for like 2-3 days,
Mhm.
right? But I don't bother going and get a flu test. Right?
No,
It's like,
exactly.
I'm just like, well, I'm sick. I'm kind of extra sick, so I'm gonna stay home and wait it out. That's what I'm saying. It's like unless this thing has got me on my back for a week, I'm not really bothering with the testing and all these other things.
Yeah. So, Stel, when Gabe got COVID, what was that? About 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
You came back and I said, well, how was it? And you were like, it was like the 10th wimpiest cold I've ever had.
Yes, absolutely. There are several times that I had a flu that would kick COVID's butt.
Yeah.
Like if they got into a cage match in a petri dish somewhere, that flu would have kicked COVID's butt. So I don't look. It's fine. It's fine. This is fine. Now the problem is though that all of these things are built. If you evaluate government's actions on incentives, you see where the incentive is.
Right.
If you have a system that's built on the incentive of having a constant emergency, you're gonna have constant emergencies. If you have people making bank on investing in various companies because of an emergency, and you can take government action, spend government money on to help alleviate the stress on the public, then all of a sudden you're going to have all these things that require that sort of government action and spending.
Here's what you're going to see is in the coming months, maybe not right away, because I think there's still a lot of people across the political spectrum, across the ideological spectrum, who are just done with this already.
Yes.
And they see what's coming. What you're going to see is media, and you're going to see, and I'm using air quotes here, health officials.
Oh, yeah, the experts.
Yeah, let's definitely do air quotes.
Experts.
What you're going to see is them trying to overwhelm us with numbers.
Yes.
And then you try to bring on the panic mode. What? You've got to take this seriously. Did you see the COVID test rate? Did you see the positivity rate? Did you see that, and this sort of thing? Now, remember, the positivity rate is basically a self-selecting number.
Yeah.
You've got symptoms, you go in and get tested, because that means of the percentage of people who test positive who think they have it anyway.
Mhm.
And so what you're going to see is the numbers come back, because that is what we had across government websites, and even at one point media, television, were tickers.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Graphics, and it had a constant display of numbers. They're going to test the waters on this.
Yes.
It's not enough, I think, to just ignore it this time. I think it's also time to let them know, I don't care.
Absolutely. Yeah, actually,
stop it.
One of the best things you can do, if you see an outlet, if you're watching TV or something like that, and you see an outlet and they pull out the graphs and the number charts and all these other things, actually turn it off.
Yeah.
Because they'll see that dip in their viewership when COVID stuff comes up, and that will actually have an impact on what they put in the news.
And you can tweet at them, and you can do the fear, because what's going to happen is these numbers are going to be thrown at us right and left, and we're all going to look around and like, well, maybe that guy at the office has been gone for, maybe he's got it. I don't know. I don't know. But use common sense. Look around and say, well, the world isn't falling apart. It didn't fall apart last time.
Yeah.
We have to, on an individual basis, remind ourselves, don't lose your mind this time.
Yeah.
Okay? And then when somebody acts panicked around you, remind them not to lose their mind around it, and call them out if they do it. I mean, call them out.
Absolutely. One of the numbers that I guarantee you is going to come out is a percentage increase in cases.
Right.
Because that's the biggest number you can pull out, especially when you're basically starting from zero. Because if you have one COVID patient this month and you have 2 next month.
That's a 100% increase.
100% increase
man.
month over month. So you can make huge claims with those kind of percentages, and then that'll make it sound like, okay, we're back into the pandemic.
Right.
Do not be fooled by all of these numbers. Math is hard, but math can also be quite the tool of the propagandist.
Yeah. All right, 314-912-1019, the next presidential debate coming up in less than a week. So let's do kind of a quick overview of where that presidential race is at this point, and what are you looking forward to hearing or not hearing from the debate? Because the RNC, once again, trying to have complete control, they're trying to weed out candidates now, a year away from the election itself, and 4 or 5 months from the first primaries and caucuses. So I'm not going to rant about the RNC. You know what I think about how horribly they're handling these debates. But let's talk about some of the candidates. We'll do a little bit of an overview just ahead, right here on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Find your way back to her heart. Find your way back. Find your way back to her heart.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
A little light fog and dampness out there this morning. Temperatures in the low to mid 60s. A cloudy day with some spot showers and maybe a thunderstorm as we get into the afternoon. They're going to be very hit and miss. The high temperature 82 degrees. Very similar tomorrow. Lows tonight in the mid 60s. High tomorrow 82 degrees with a 30% chance of hit and miss showers and thunderstorms. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
News, analysis,
I'm glad you're talking about this.
opinion.
I'm glad you're fired up about it, too, because I know I am.
News Talk STL.
Now, the Free Market Minute, brought to you by the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University.
I'm here with Dr. Howard Wall. Let's talk Social Security. Howard, I'd like to retire someday. Will Social Security actually be there?
Social Security is financed by payroll taxes and an accounting trick called the Social Security Trust Fund. For a few years now, the amount coming in has been too low to cover benefits, so the trust fund has been shrinking.
Well, then how much time is left?
In about 11 years, the trust fund will be empty, and benefits will be cut immediately and automatically by about 20%. You know, the topic has been declared off the table by both parties, but taking it off the table will not keep it from driving itself and the federal budget off a fiscal cliff.
The John W. Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University fosters and examines market-oriented approaches to economic and social issues. To learn more, visit hammondinstitute.org.
Hey, it's your buddy Todd Showalter from The Right Mind Show. For 25 years, offices, hotels, restaurants, and churches have been saving money and time by shopping at discountcoffee.com. They offer the largest selection of name brand coffee, tea, cappuccino, break room supplies, and free shipping to your home or office. Plus, get an extra 15% off when you use the coupon code RightMind. That's discountcoffee.com. Order now at discountcoffee.com.
Tony Colombo here for Cadre Asset Management. A cadre is defined as a small group of people specially trained for a particular purpose or profession, and that is the role that Cadre Asset Management can play in your financial journey. Learn more about how they can help secure your financial future by following Cadre Asset Management on Facebook, or just go to cadreassetmgmt.com.
Cadre Asset Management is a Missouri-based independent advisory firm licensed under and securities and investment advisory services offered through Founders Financial Securities, LLC, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Thursday, how bad was Joe Biden's bumbling before the UN? Dakota Wood at 425. And how about helping veterans in our region? The Gateway Warrior Foundation, Brett Leary.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Hey everyone, this is State Senator Nick Schroer. I am the host of Stand and Fight every Sunday night. Tune in to us at 8 p.m. Right now, let's hear more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show here on News Talk STL.
I
All right, we're closing in on the second GOP presidential debate. That's going to happen on the 27th, which is, Wednesday. This coming Wednesday in California.
Okay.
Let's go over kind of the landscape of the presidential race right now on the Republican side. Don't forget, we've got our own Republican event coming up here in St. Louis County. Republican Central Committee of St. Louis County has the annual Lincoln Reagan Day dinner. It's happening next Saturday, the 30th. That's going to happen at River City Casino Hotel Ballroom. So September 30th, which gives you time to get your tickets now before the government shuts down. Or if the government does shut down, you can still go to this. Hogan Gidley, he is a Newsmax contributor, former White House deputy press secretary under Donald Trump, is going to be the keynote speaker, and the MC is going to be some guy named Chris Arps.
Who's that now?
Don't know.
Oh, okay.
Never heard of him.
All right.
Andrew Bailey, Missouri Attorney General. I've heard of him.
Yeah.
He's speaking along with Vivek Malek. He is the Missouri State Treasurer, and Speaker of the House, Dean Plocker, is going to be there. More information at stlcorepublicans.org. So STLCO for St. Louis County, stlcorepublicans.org is where you get your ticket information. Okay, next Republican presidential debate is on Wednesday. Donald Trump says he will not participate in this one either.
Really?
Yep.
That's interesting because I mean, now while he had he certainly had a ratings boon in that the first hour of his Tucker special versus the debates, it didn't last, right? Because and the numbers that they did on Fox were actually pretty dang decent.
It was the biggest non-sports ratings for anything on television in that last debate. There is an appetite for voters to watch these debates. Those numbers stunned me.
Yeah.
And I suspect they stunned a lot of people. I did not expect those numbers. And that's before you get into who was watching on other platforms or who went back and rewatched it later.
Right. Yeah. And just now granted, if the numbers that you're actually looking at are the whatever the general poll numbers are that people like to lean on, he has increased his lead technically.
Depending on which
poll. So if that's the one he's going for, basically is what I'm saying, then that was probably might be driving this decision.
Well, I don't know. It's Donald Trump. Donald Trump does what Donald Trump does.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean his initial reasoning was, well, I'm so far ahead, why do I even need to bother? And from a political standpoint, if you're his advisor, right, you're saying, well, you have everything to lose and nothing to gain by going there, so do something else. So if that was the reasoning originally and that lead has increased, then it makes sense in that regard.
We know what I think of the state of polling right now.
Yeah, polling's not great.
But there are mixed results as to whether or not he's increased his lead or whether he's lost a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
The numbers are going to go up and down. I'm still arguing do not rely on polls. Now, is he the front runner? Of course,
clearly.
And by a large margin, he's still the front runner. But this race is not over. And that's I think what he was trying to present was the race is over. There's no point. I'm going to campaign against Joe Biden. And I think the ratings and I think the fluctuations in what polling there is out there, I think that's got people going, well, he's way ahead, but I don't know that it's over just yet.
And there's at the very least been a lot of shuffling.
Yeah.
In the field. The rest of the field, I should say. So I'm really curious as to how all this stuff is going to play out. I learned a lot from the last debate, and I hope to learn some more, get a little more clarity on what's going on there, and keep this little train moving.
Yeah, well, let's see here. Senator Tim Scott, he was on Hannity last night, and we're getting basically clarification of what the messaging of all the candidates is going to be. And, of course, he's hitting Joe Biden with his Bidenomics talk.
This is like the sequel to the Jimmy Carter years. It is devastating, and it's devastating working-class Americans. They've lost thousands of dollars of spending power, and without any question, whether you're a non-union or union worker, you're being devastated by the Bidenomics. Devastated.
Okay, and Senator Scott was also hitting the COVID stimulus spending. that happened. Both now he went after Biden's stimulus spending, but I think the unstated thing is, remember the first one came under the Trump administration, so that's also a primary and caucus kind of dig at that reckless spending as well. Let's see here. I haven't played a soundbite from Vivek Ramaswamy in a while because I played Nikki Haley and I've played Ron DeSantis, but Vivek Ramaswamy was also on Hannity last night as well.
The idea that you get ahead in this country, not on the color of your skin, but on the content of your character. I think 80% of people in this country agree on that. And half the 20 are people younger than me who never learned those ideals in the first place. We're going to bring them along, too. And if we do, Sean, I think we can win the 2024 election.
Okay, so if you want to win that younger vote, Mr. Ramaswamy, don't tell people under 25 that you don't trust them to vote and they have to pass a test.
It is a very weird flex that he keeps attempting, at least rhetorically, to court the young vote while simultaneously campaigning on the idea that people that
they're too dumb to vote.
Those young people should not vote unless they serve the government.
Right.
So it's really interesting that what's going on there. I mean, obviously there are plenty of things that he says that are cool that I agree with. Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those things that happens when you actually have a competition and you actually have some discussion on the right. You see the distinctions between the candidates, like, hey, we all agree X, Y, and Z, right?
Right.
Well, sure, yeah, and then you get into the nuances, like, wait a minute. So I'm interested to hear how this all proceeds.
Yeah. Now, one thing that has happened since that last debate was Donald Trump going on Meet the Press this past weekend and talking about abortion.
That I've been wondering what the fallout from that would be. I haven't really seen much, which is interesting.
Well, there has been. Now, one thing I'm still going to point out is, where are all the pro-life organizations who are not speaking up right now, which is bizarre to me.
I saw a few.
Okay, good.
I did see. Now it was like single tweets though. Single.
Tepid.
It was really a tepid, which I think is a bit of a giving deference to somebody who's done really good work in the past kind of thing, because they lauded all the Supreme Court justices and him appearing at the March for Life. Those things were unprecedented, right? So he gets so much credit there. I think so when they were criticism comes, it's going to be a rubber hammer as opposed to a real one.
Yeah, but last night in Iowa he doubled down.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Well, I'm wondering where we're going with this.
And I'm looking at the Newsmax article on this. So I'm looking at a conservative Newsmax. He was doing, it wasn't one of his big rallies. He was speaking at a Republican event. And let me just read the first couple of questions here, or first couple paragraphs. He said the Newsmax article says former President Donald Trump said Wednesday that Republicans could have a hard time winning elections if they don't support exceptions to abortion bans. And then they quote him, and he says, without the exceptions, it's very difficult to win elections. We would probably lose majorities in 2024 without the exceptions, perhaps the presidency itself, Trump said at a rally in Iowa. And the next paragraph says Trump told supporters to follow your heart on their positions on the exceptions, but that Republicans still have to win elections. So basically, what I'm hearing, and if you guys hear something different, just let me know. But what I'm hearing is just go ahead and moderate on this issue. Don't be so I guess principled. Don't be
strident.
Don't be so strident on this issue, because winning the election is more important than staying true to the pro-life movement, pro-life cause.
Well, I'm not hearing it quite that way. I'm hearing it more in the purely political incrementalism. That's what I'm hearing. It's a political version of incrementalism, where it's like, hey, you can't make any of these changes unless you're in power, and the only way to get power right now, at least, is to have a more moderate approach. Now, I don't know what that means in practice. And as an abolitionist, it does give me pause, but I'm thinking this is less an ideological thing with him and more of a practical businessman type of thing. It's like, here's how you get towards your closer to your goal.
I think the more moderate approach that he's taking is that rape, incest, and the life of the mother are the three issues that I believe he would be okay with.
Yeah, the exceptions. I mean,
those are the exceptions.
That's the comment. Yeah,
and folks are trying to force him into a corner to say, well, the heartbeat bill and everything else. that's where we should stand. And I think he's saying, well, wait a minute here. I think these other three issues are still important. I'm willing to moderate as far as those are concerned, and we'll see where he stands regarding the intensity of the heartbeat bill and other issues where it's 6 to 12 weeks.
Well, he said that's a terrible idea. He said it was a terrible bill. His words. He said that the heartbeat bill was a terrible idea and a big mistake.
But I don't think that eliminates those other three areas.
Right.
From my perspective.
Yeah. And even like in Missouri, which has the most pro-life laws in the country, the life of the mother is absolutely included in the exceptions. I mean, pro-life laws have that.
Yeah.
But what happens is you double down on this, and what we're talking about the strategic part of this.
Yeah.
The pro-life base is unquestionably a major base in the voting. And when it comes to, for instance, the heartbeat bill, which has signed into law in some states, of course, he went after Florida because that's where Ron DeSantis is. But he said that the heartbeat bill was a terrible idea and that he wanted to make everybody happy and he wanted the Democrats included in the negotiations. So, Donald Trump for 23 years, 25 years has been a pro-choice guy. I mean, he has declared himself pro-choice. You look up his old interviews with Tim Russert and all this kind of stuff, so you can't knock his judicial picks, which eventually overturned Roe versus Wade. So when it comes to the presidential race, is he risking at some point this part of the Republican voter base going, how much do you want us to moderate? We've got so much momentum on our hands. Why would we get a win overturning Roe versus Wade and then say, okay, well, let's not go too crazy with this pro-life thing?
This is where the sort of negotiator in chief aspect of his way of doing political business could get him into trouble.
Right.
Because like you said, we're very, very pro-life on the right, and that's a really big issue. Now he makes a point in that the larger voting populace supports the exceptions, the rape and incest exceptions in particular, and probably has a larger threshold for however many weeks they can go than the right side. So he's trying to moderate those. He's trying to say, hey, can't we all just kind of get along and win elections? And I'm not sure how far that message, I should say, will fly.
Right.
But right now, it doesn't seem to be impacting his numbers, which is very fascinating to me.
I don't know if it's not impacting him, though.
Not yet.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still early yet. I mean, because the thing is that message, I'm not sure has really gotten out too much yet.
Yeah, 314-912-1019. It just comes down to how important is the issue to conservative voters? How important is the issue to Republican voters?
I think it's very important, and I believe, from my perspective, most Republican voters, I would say almost all of them, would never vote for a Democrat who's
Right.
pro-death.
Right.
So I think maybe he feels like, well, there's enough leeway there for me to kind of move within that subject because I know that most of my supporters, if not all, would never go to the Democratic side.
Yeah.
That's a bet. It's a bet.
It's that's probably a reasonable bet, but if that's a key vote for you, I don't know. 314-912-1019. This is going to be interesting because he's not going to be at the debate to basically face off with his fellow competitors on it. So
Which
we'll see.
once again, and I'm stating this from my perspective, it's on Fox Business. And he doesn't want to have anything to do with Fox and the Murdochs.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's probably part of it.
Yeah, it's him putting himself above the voters again. That's what it is. All right, 314-912-1019.
Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. News, analysis, opinion.
It almost seems common sense, but, alas, common sense isn't so common these days.
News Talk STL.
Columbo here with an awesome offer from the cleaning pros we trust with our home, the team at Zero Res. Mention the Columbo special when you book a cleaning in September, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129 plus $100 off your air duct cleaning, which is perfect this time of year because it will help alleviate allergies and asthma, lower your energy bills, and keep your home cleaner longer. Just mention the Columbo special when you call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
I want to share something special with you. I've told you how Wellington Environmental works to keep hospitals, schools, businesses safe for their patients, students, clients, employees. Wellington can do the same for you. Perfect example. A relative went to the basement, almost knocked over by the smell. A sewer line had broken. A call to Wellington, a crew was dispatched. First thing, make the home safe. Then clean up the mess. Truly clean it up. Now, I'm telling you this because I want the best for you. Wellington Environmental. Here's the number, 314-644-4930. 644-4930. AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. 644-4930. Wellington Environmental. Your world. Cleaner, better, safer. Be well with Wellington.
This Saturday night at 10 on Stories of New Americans.
I'm joined by Yuri Bolato from Korea. How was it coming to America? Was that tough?
No, I love St. Louis. St. Louis is a kind of city, like a countryside half and city side half. And so that's why I really love St. Louis. Very, very intelligent city.
Oh.
I love that, yeah.
Stories of New Americans. Saturday nights at 10 on News Talk STL.
Hey, Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros. When Christine and I bought our new house, we knew the gutters were an issue, and after meeting the Gutter Pros team, we knew that they were right for us. Gutter Pros is your all-in-one gutter service team that offers a variety of affordable solutions, and they even offer free estimates, so there's no cost to you to find out if they are right for your home, just like they were for ours. If you're having a problem with your gutters, contact the Gutter Pros now, because with Gutter Pros, water goes where they tell it to. Call them at 314-656-7195 or visit gutterpros.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey there, Tim Jones here. Make sure you join me and my buddy Chris Arps this afternoon from 4 until 6 p.m. right here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL. Right now, let's get back to more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning.
All right, got some thoughts on the dynamics of the abortion issue, which is honestly not one of the issues I thought was going to be a big one in the primary.
I was not expecting this conversation.
Yeah, but that's where it seems to go. And this is one of my least favorite political and policy topics to talk about. But you can't deny its impact on that. By the way, 7:05, gun control efforts expanding here in the St. Louis metro area. Now we've got a politician saying, you know what we need to do? We need more gun control in St. Louis County.
Of course.
Because it's going to work so well in the city. Let's do it in the county. So
That'll
I'll give
fix
you the update.
everything.
Yeah.
The mayor told us so.
All right, let's see here. We got Jim on the line here. And Jim, just so you know, I've got about 2 minutes before I get to the information segment. What's your take?
Okay, good morning, gentlemen. The reason it's an issue is because the Republicans are making it an issue. Didn't the Supreme Court last year tell us that this was a state issue?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so why in the world are they bringing this up at the federal level when if it goes to court, it's more any kind of a limit's liable to get shot down, just like Roe v. Wade got shot down?
Well, maybe not. What the Dobbs decision did was say that the Supreme Court erred in basically issuing a judicial right. What's not been tested is if Congress were to do one, because Democrats tried to codify Roe versus Wade, and then Republicans also said, well, let's do a 15-week ban. So the Supreme Court said it's a state issue. Then both the Republicans and Democrats said, oh, watch this. Hold my beer.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, ideologically, of course, we disagree with the idea of a federal ban.
Right.
Right. So why not just leave it on the table and say that's a state issue? Let's talk about the interest rates, the economy, everything else that's going on out there that you can get people on your side for instead of, one of the first things they did last year, and this turned my stomach, you had Goober Graham out there in September coming out with the national, I don't remember how many weeks he had in his ban.
Got to wrap
but
it
that
up.
just fired up the liberal base.
All right, hey,
You know?
Jim, I got to run to the break. Point well taken. I get what you mean. I mean, of course, to a lot of Republican voters, they're saying this is a principal issue. We'll see what happens.
News, analysis, opinion.
If one party is saying we will never raise taxes, even on millionaires and billionaires who pay an 8% effective tax rate, something this president just foundationally disagrees with, we're stuck.
This is News Talk STL.
I'm going to finish my term as leader, and I'm going to finish my Senate term.
Updated vaccines that will be available.
Hear these words: we will not tolerate your vaccine mandates.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
That's the freedom we have in this country.
And newstalkstl.com.
Well, it is definitely summer here in the heartland. Time to call Hanson's Tree Service for all of your commercial and residential tree care. Tim Jones here for Hanson's Tree Service. Let them come out to your homestead or your business today. Take care of everything regarding the exterior of your home. Grinding and land clearing, all residential and commercial tree services. They've got fantastic organic mulch in bulk. Plant health care as well. Give them a call, 636-379-1830, 24/7. They're always available at hansonstree.com. That's hansonstree.com.
Tony Colombo here, reminding you to visit my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton before your next trip into the great outdoors. For decades, Bluff City Outdoors has covered all the needs for area fishermen, and they'll always have all the best bait, tackle, and gear for your next trip on the water. And now they cover all your bow hunting needs, including their state-of-the-art indoor archery range and techno hunt system, open every day for you to come shoot, or you can join a league. Follow Bluff City Outdoors on Facebook and learn more at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
It's your last chance to cut a deal at Seidenstücker Nobe Partners. Save up to $5,000 on select John Deere compact tractor packages with our exclusive 10-year warranty. And we're offering 0% financing for 60 months with zero down. Get your John Deere equipment by shopping online or visiting us at any of our 28 locations. Let's cut a deal now before it's too late. snpartners.com.
Offer valid through 9/30/2023. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Hi, Sean Long for STL Fenceworks. STL Fenceworks is proud and excited to install American-made aluminum and vinyl fence products, as well as American-made decking. For instance, STL Fenceworks has teamed up with Jareth Manufacturing. Jareth invented the aluminum fence industry over 50 years ago. The Jareth product is wholly sourced and manufactured in the U.S., and STL Fenceworks is the third largest Jareth customer in the world. STL Fenceworks is vinyl fencing also, and not just white. We partner with National Vinyl Products to provide you with tan, clay, gray, and variegated wood grain vinyl fence products too, all made in the U.S. Not to be forgotten, STL Fenceworks is maintenance-free decking. STL Fenceworks is the #1 distributor of Wolf Cellular PVC in the Midwest, proudly manufactured in the U.S. and voted #1 maintenance-free decking product in the United States. Let STL Fenceworks make your outdoor space magical. Visit stlfenceworks.com today and learn how we can make your backyard dreams into a reality. At STL Fenceworks, your satisfaction is our passion.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. With 14,000 illegal aliens flooding into the city since just last week, the mayor of Eagle Pass, Texas, declaring a state of emergency. Mayor Rolando Salinas says many of the new arrivals are military-aged men from Venezuela, and not especially keen on following orders. They simply do as they please. And the Biden administration wants to make it easier for illegals to get jobs that otherwise might be held by U.S. citizens.
The Biden administration has announced that it was granting protection to hundreds of thousands of Venezuelans who are already in the country. Venezuelans who arrived in the country as of July 31st, 2023, would now have temporary protected status, making it much easier and faster for them to get authorization to work in the United States. That has been a key demand of Democratic mayors and governors who are struggling to care for an increased number of migrants in their care. The administration also says that it would accelerate work authorizations for people who have recently arrived in the country and are eligible to get a work permit. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Now in Washington, Ukrainian President Zelensky will appeal to Congress for more U.S. money for Ukraine. Republican Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri is among the skeptics.
I think this latest request for what is it, $24 billion? That is not the end. They made that very clear. It's not close to the end. So I would just say what we're basically told is buckle up and get out your checkbook.
The U.S. has already sent hundreds of millions of dollars in aid to Ukraine, prompting some lawmakers to ask, what about Europe stepping up to the plate and chipping in more to the cause? No change in interest rates for now, the decision of the Federal Reserve. The Wall Street reaction, this morning stock futures are in the red. The Dow futures down 176 points. NASDAQ futures 155 points lower. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Thinking about life insurance? What if you could make one free phone call and learn your best price from nearly a dozen highly rated price competitive companies? Well, that's exactly what happens when you call SelectQuote Life. For example, George is 40. He was getting sky-high quotes from other companies because he takes meds to control his blood pressure. But when I shopped around, I found him a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $25 a month. I'm SelectQuote agent Dan Savino. And believe me, if SelectQuote isn't shopping for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 800-514-9771. That's 800-514-9771. 800-514-9771. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Or price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
India has suspended
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
A little light fog and dampness out there this morning. Temperatures in the low to mid 60s. A cloudy day with some spot showers and maybe a thunderstorm as we get into the afternoon. They're going to be very hit and miss. The high temperature 82 degrees. Very similar tomorrow. Lows tonight in the mid 60s. High tomorrow 82 degrees with a 30% chance of hit and miss showers and thunderstorms. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
My wife and I are finishing up some home renovations, and we are so excited when you kind of refresh your home. You know, you can do the roofing, you can do landscaping, you can do all those things, and so often we forget how important the windows are. Mike Ferguson here for my friends at Window World. They are simply the best for less. Have I ever said that before? I think I have. Give them a call. 314-993-1800. I can go down all the credentials that Window World has. One of two windows with the Good Housekeeping seal of approval. Insider, renovation and construction magazine called Qualified Remodeler Magazine. You have not heard of that, but that is what the people who really know homes and home construction and home remodeling understand. That's their go-to. They are ranked number one by that insider source. Over 20 years, Window World has been in business here in St. Louis. Matter of fact, when you call them at 314-993-1800, you are not calling some national call center. You are calling your friends and neighbors in Earth City. And for over 20 years, Window World has taken care of over 70,000 homes in St. Louis. And go ahead and look them up. They are very proud of the reviews they get on things like Yelp and Google and the Better Business Bureau, not just for the quality of the products, but how well they take care of customers. When I was there last and talking to my friends at Window World, it was really interesting to me how excited they were when they get that positive feedback and somebody says, you came out and took care of a problem, and I'm so satisfied with the window and the service, because those windows have a lifetime warranty. So it'd be really easy for them just to install them and walk away, because you're probably never going to have any issues. But if anything needs to be updated, they are there. That lifetime warranty covering all parts, glass breakage, and labor. And by the way, as we near the winter months, those windows, which are double strength, aren't just double strength, so they can be so strong you can get that lifetime warranty. They're also going to make your home more energy efficient and save you money as well. So get your free in-home estimate. Let them show you how they are simply the best for less. And if you already have Window World windows, don't forget they can also do entry doors, custom made, and siding for your home as well. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit. So these windows, which are going to cost less than other windows anyway, are even easier on your budget. 18 months, same as cash financing. More at windowworld.com, but the best thing to do is give them a call at 314-993-1800. 70,000 homes in St. Louis. You probably can't go about a mile or a mile and a half without driving past some home that's got Window World windows in them. They are the preferred window of the St. Louis Blues for good reason, so find out what they can do for you today. 314-993-1800.
Live and local.
Well, here's what's on my mind. I think I got the solution to immigration.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Pfeiffer.
I triple dog dare ya!
Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin God.
All right, what the heck is it with leftists and their hostility for the Second Amendment these days?
Well, you could have ended that sentence with almost anything good. What is it with leftists and their hostility towards, and then you just fill in the blank? Yeah.
Now a new proposal in St. Louis County is being offered for more gun control. All right, News Talk STL. Listen, hey, if you are missing out on our social media, you need to fix that. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Get to it.
What are you even doing?
Get to it. All right. Obviously, Facebook and Twitter, just look up News Talk STL. We are on Instagram. I'm not, but we are on Instagram. And, of course, Rumble is really where it's at for the video stream. We are back on YouTube for now. What's the over-under? How long until they throw us off, really? I mean, honestly.
3 months.
Yeah.
6.
Yeah. But there is a News Talk STL YouTube page again. There's also a Mike Ferguson in the Morning YouTube page as well, and I am stunned that we have not been thrown off that yet.
Can we make it till the end of the year, maybe?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, we should.
We'll try for that.
Yeah, precisely. Jeez. It's funny. You remember the first time we got thrown off YouTube, we actually printed up their notice.
Yes.
They're like, for them, it's like, here's your death sentence, and we printed it and framed it and put it in the studio.
Yeah, we're like, yay, we did it, guys. Another goal accomplished.
Oh, my goodness. All right. A St. Louis County Councilwoman thinks St. Louis City's gun control law is just a great idea, and the county should follow the lead of a dying, high-crime, violent city.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's pretty much par for the course.
Yeah,
All
standard.
Right. So here's what's going on. County Council Chair Shalonda Webb, so she is the number one ranking member of the St. Louis County Council. She was very open and very clear, and we warned you about this about 3 months ago or so, that once the city started talking about their gun control ordinance, she said, that's a great idea. I want to go talk to them, and I'm going to come up with something for the county. Now, keep in mind that you've got leftists all over the country, so this is about St. Louis County, but this is also what we're seeing on the hard left throughout America since the U.S. Supreme Court over the past 2 years has issued ruling after ruling after ruling that says the Second Amendment means what it says, and that gun ownership and the right to keep and bear arms is actually a constitutional right. It is a human right.
It's kind of a real thing.
It's a very real thing. And then what's happened is in state after state after state, and in major metropolitan area, and I don't know that you can call St. Louis City major metropolitan anymore the way that it used to be.
Yeah.
But they have gone and doubled down on gun control laws. The state of Illinois has written a blatantly unconstitutional one. They're basically poking their finger in the eye of the Supreme Court. The state of New York did it. The city of St. Louis did it. California did it. The governor of New Mexico tried to suspend the Second Amendment by declaring a health emergency.
Yeah, honestly.
So leftists all over the country have responded to the U.S. Supreme Court saying, no, that Second Amendment actually means what it says, by saying, screw you. I mean, in some cases, they've literally put forth laws that were struck down, just rewrote those laws and put them back into place.
New York specifically.
Illinois is going to have their law struck down, but in the meantime, they're trying to set themselves up for any sort of end run they can around the Supreme Court. States like this, cities like this, they look at the Second Amendment, they look at the United States Constitution, they look at the Supreme Court as an obstacle to get around.
Yes. Yes. If they had their druthers, they would absolutely remove the Second Amendment. They would repeal the Second Amendment.
Yeah, though they would, absolutely. And so what's happening here is Councilwoman Shalonda Webb, she's proposing basically the same thing that St. Louis City has. So this will probably be taken up next week, maybe late next week is when they're going to start looking at this. And there is a narrow Democratic majority on the county council, so I don't know how this vote would go. I'm not convinced that this would just pass on a party line vote. I think it's possible that in some blue-collar areas that some of the county council people are like, yeah, I really don't want to tick off all those voters here.
Yeah, there's a good portion of North County that still disappears in hunting season.
Yes.
So, those are the type of people we're dealing with right now.
So here's what she's proposing. She is proposing, just like the city, that you must have a concealed carry license in order to open carry.
Which is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever. It still hurts me because of how stupid it is in concept.
Yeah. Now, if you
let alone,
if you get a CCW, and there are reasons to get a CCW permit based on possibly your job or whatever the case is. There might be ways to do it. But Missouri is a constitutional carry state. Missouri's state law recognizes the Second Amendment for what it is, and you are allowed to carry,
keep and bear.
Yeah, you are allowed to keep and bear arms. You are allowed to, put a holster on and walk around with a gun on your hip.
Right. Now, whether or not it's a good idea in whatever particular situation you're in, that's up to you.
Right.
I say be smart.
Be smart about it. Yeah, absolutely. And so that's what she wants to do, saying if you have that, then you could open carry, but only if you have a concealed carry permit. So it makes no sense. And in the St. Louis Post-Disgrace article on this, she's quoted as saying this, and her words, elderly people feel like they can't come outside because 13-year-olds are walking around with AR-15s.
It's so stupid. It is. No, that's not happening.
No, that's not happening. Listen, it's already illegal for 13-year-olds to walk around with semi-autos.
Right.
Okay, it's illegal for 13-year-olds to walk around with a gun already.
That was the question I would follow up with. It's like, okay, well, if you saw if a police officer saw a 13-year-old with an AR-15 walking around North County right now, what would they do, and why would this new law change what they do?
Right. So her proposal is for unincorporated St. Louis County, and she wants every municipality to pass their own versions of this. And I would say most of eastern St. Louis County would do it. Like I live in Richmond Heights, they would do it in a heartbeat and celebrate it. Webster Grove would throw a party for it. Maplewood would do it as well. All of them unconstitutional, of course, but hey, these are leftist-controlled cities. They don't care about Constitution.
Yeah.
And so she announced in early August that she was going to be putting together something. And, of course, this is what we've got, which is very predictable. And it's ridiculous on the face of it because we know that these laws will be struck down.
Yeah. Now, are they proceeding with these in spite of, clearly in spite of federal rulings and things like that, but don't we have at the state level already legislation that already prohibits this type of thing, or are they trying to live in some weird carve out that we gave them?
They're trying to live in what they believe is a carve out.
Okay.
Whether or not that actually applies, we don't know. Aaron Dorr from the American Firearms Association was on this show, and he goes, well, there actually is a carve-out. It's unconstitutional, but there is a carve-out that they think that they're exploiting. Whether or not that stands up to constitutional scrutiny, we'll find out.
Right.
And that's what's frustrating, guys, is because, for instance, I live in a very blue city. I live in Richmond Heights. It's pointless, for like somebody said, Mike, why don't you run for city council? No. It's pointless. Period. I'm not doing it. They couldn't care less what I have to say. For the county, I'm in, one of the most left-wing county council districts that there is. So I've got a nutcase for a representative. So it's a situation where the leftists are deciding we don't care what the Constitution says. We're going to force litigation. We're going to force, conservatives to spend a lot of money to keep our rights and protect their rights at the same time. And so this type of thing is what we're seeing all over the country. It's infuriating. It is there is no real intellect that goes to this.
Not at all.
It is simply kind of a center left and left wing populism. And remember, populism is the opposite of principled. Those are opposites. And so this is rushing to the base and saying, we're going to do something about the guns. Yay! And they're not doing anything about the guns, because if they were doing something about the guns, they would have all of the prop money that was supposed to go to law enforcement would go to law enforcement, and we'd force that. But to say we're just going to find ways to make it harder for law-abiding citizens to defend themselves is, it just shows you that our priorities are not where they should be.
We've seen a lot of interesting strategies from the left of late, trying to stymie any movement towards right-leaning philosophies getting into the public, into legislation and things like that, and this sort of death by legislation or death by litigation seems to be one of their go-to tactics right now. They like to run out the clock on things. They like to force you to spend a whole bunch of money on lawyers, and in the meantime, just rack up all kinds of wins, essentially, by getting as many people on a list as they can, getting as many gun stores hemmed up in various financial difficulties because they have to basically suspend selling half of their inventory because it's now illegal. All these other things. I think they're trying to do as much hurt and damage to the Second Amendment side of America as possible, even while they try to take away our rights.
And they still think this is a winning issue for them.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird. Now, is it ideologically it's a winning issue, right? Like they think they win because they're like, well, hey, look, we're just trying to protect the kids, and nobody has a right to have a weapon of war at their home. So they're still doubling down on their kind of weird
You'd have to be in a
positions
super
and rhetoric.
blue area for that to be winning, and St. Louis County. This is one of the areas where St. Louis County, which is a left-leaning, purplish but more blue than red area. There's no doubt about that. But I don't know that this is a winning issue in the county.
Well, yeah, certainly in terms of local and state, there's no way they're going to have anything positive come out of this.
Yeah. Jay Monty says left fails to understand. I'm looking at Rumble right now.
Yep.
The left fails to understand that criminals don't care about laws, gun laws or not. Criminals will still have guns. Absolutely true. And even the mayor of St. Louis City was caught admitting that.
Yes.
That she knows that these laws do nothing to deter crime. She's admitted that.
Absolutely.
We all know that, without a doubt. And Goat Lady says all the cool kids are on Rumble, which she's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
It's funny. Somebody once said that, if you outlaw guns, only outlaws will have guns. And that's necessarily true.
It is. All right, 314-912-1019. Going to give you a little preview of what I'm seeing on the Missouri side. What I think conservatives and what I think lawmakers are going to be focusing on, what may be the number one legislative agenda that a lot of conservative activist groups are going to focus on, and I think they are determined to win this time. I'll tell you what that is around 7:22 here on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
News, analysis, opinion. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Before you blow us all away. Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up.
The latest news.
This campaign is about courage. Our economic plan is working. We believe in a government that represents all, not just the few.
The news you need to know.
Under Biden, people are hurting, and his policies are driving your grocery bills to be more expensive. Your gas is going up.
I'm embarrassed for our Attorney General to put so much focus on this when we have criminals destroying California right now.
And the place to talk about it.
The agenda that the far left is pushing is not working for us.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Never paint again. This is Darren, owner of Rhino Shield. Want to eliminate painting your home, business, or church? Call the experts at Rhino Shield. Rhino Shield is a revolutionary ceramic wall coating to regular paint and vinyl. Perfect for aluminum, steel, unpainted brick, block, stucco, ephes, drive-it, cement board, and wood sidings. Rhino Shield eliminates wasting time and money painting year after year. Our ceramic coating deflects 90% of the sun's UV rays and 100% of the moisture. Our clients want affordable protection with the elimination of maintenance. Rhino Shield protects your biggest investment while maintaining your architectural features and gives you the curb appeal you deserve. Make your home great again by working with the Rhino Shield experts. A+ rated with the BBB. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Are you tired of hard chlorinated water drying your skin out, tasting bad, and ruining your fixtures? Jones Air and Water Treatment has a solution to this pollution. Our Hydratech H2O leaves you with great tasting, soft water at all fixtures in your home with one unit. Call Jones Air and Water at 636-899-1040 or visit us on the web at joneswater.com. You can be a filter or buy a filter. Jones Air and Water, 636-899-1040 or joneswater.com on the web. Call us now.
Oh, Adam, you are so romantic. And I love the kitchen you found with all these great crumbs.
Yeah, baby, only the finest crumbs in the kitchen for my favorite aunt. Oh no, it's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They always kill the mood.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. We'd love to help you out. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Fox News commentary.
This beauty brand is partnering with a BLM activist to push fat liberation. I'm Tommy Lahren. Find out next.
The best way to stop Joe Biden's agenda is to opt out of his inflation game by diversifying your savings into gold. I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and this is why I recommend a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. To learn more, text the word SHELTER to 989898 to get a free info kit on gold. Birch Gold is the only gold company I trust. So text SHELTER to 989898 right now.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
Is fat liberation? It sounds a lot like diabetes and or heart disease to me, but that didn't stop the Dove brand from partnering with a BLM activist to promote it. Zaina Bryant is this activist turned fat liberation influencer, and not only is the whole concept pretty twisted, so is her past. Bryant worked to get a white student at her university suspended after she admittedly misheard her say a racist comment. That girl's life has been ruined over that accusation, but not Bryant's. Nope, she is now a beauty brand ambassador working to end the stigma of being grossly overweight. So it's a 2-for-1, folks, glorifying obesity and glorifying cancel culture. We are truly living in the upside down, and I don't know about you, but I want out, and I want out now. Goodbye, Dove, you'll get the Bud Light treatment. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless at Outkick.com.
News, analysis,
I'm glad you're talking about this.
opinion.
I'm glad you're fired up about it, too, because I know I am.
News Talk STL.
Hey, this is Larry Connors. Make sure you're listening later today at 6 o'clock on News Talk STL for my show, Larry Connors USA. Now, back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, what's going to be front and center in Missouri politics in the coming year? I'll tell you because I'm seeing a lot of prep work being done on this issue, so I'm going to give you a little bit of a heads up on that. The Federal Reserve makes a decision on interest rates at 7:35. We're going to explain what that could mean to your family's personal finances as well. We've got the expert from the On the Money radio show and also from Stiefel with us just about 10 minutes from right now. All right, I'm Mike Ferguson. We got Gabe Pfeiffer here. Got Stel Ponticus here. Okay, so I've just noticed a pattern, guys.
What's that?
You know, obviously we're all well connected with a lot of conservative activist groups and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm noticing a pattern that months before the legislative session, the common theme I am seeing is school choice.
Okay.
State of Arizona, I would say, probably has the best, most expansive school choice program in the country.
Mm-hmm.
New Mexico has one that the governor there is trying to get rid of.
Mm-hmm.
Florida has an excellent one as well. So these are the states that are really leading on school choice. We have a very modest school choice set of laws, even though the majority of the Republicans say they support school choice. So what I'm seeing with the influential activist groups, now I'm talking about the ones that actually get their phone calls returned.
They can make some moves.
Right. There's a lot of groups out there that make some noise on social media, but the ones who actually, have the ability to get the attention of lawmakers, they are making school choice. And we're not talking, let's take another little baby step.
Mm-hmm.
They are talking universal, robust school choice.
Money follows the student.
Yep. The number one priority of this coming legislative session.
Awesome. I'm excited for that, for sure. Because that's one of the things I think that could, at the very least, help uproot some of the institutions that have kind of gotten us locked into some of these stupid issues, to begin with. The transgender bathrooms and the drag queen story hours and all of these other things kind of hinge in large part on teachers unions who have absolute control over the public schools, and kids are locked into the public schools for the most part, at least around the state, and that's kind of where a lot of these issues gestate, right? So uprooting the whole system by saying, hey, parents now have control over where their students go, I think can kind of change the balance of power in a lot of these other sort of tertiary culture war issues.
And you pile that all onto decades of just terrible outcomes of performance by public schools.
Oh, yeah, also failure.
Right. Failure.
Yeah.
You put indoctrination on top of failure, and you've got an appetite for school choice, but really it's about parental empowerment.
Yes.
It is about the fact that our public education system has been failing and is failing. And what's happening is the left, you mentioned the teachers union, teachers unions, that are fighting to preserve their own place in the system. They want the system to be protected. And what's happening right now is the more that people learn about school choice, education freedom, the more people like it. And that is across the board. Only those on the far left are adamantly opposed to school choice.
Yes.
Liberals like school choice to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
The center likes school choice. There is absolutely no electoral downside to supporting school choice.
Oh, no, it's incredibly popular all across the board.
And the good thing here is that the conservative activist groups are mobilizing right now. And I'm telling you, they're going to win because Democrats aren't the problem stopping school choice.
Mm-hmm.
It's Republicans in the Missouri legislature who are stopping it. And I know that a lot of people are saying, wait a minute, but that's in the official Republican Party platform in the state. It is.
There are a lot of things officially in the platform.
You've got two things.
Yeah.
You've got leadership that we've talked about in the past who like to talk a conservative game, but reality is they're just very establishment.
Yes.
And part of the establishment is the teachers unions. Part of the establishment is the superintendents and the boards of education. But the other part is the rural school districts where the school district, unfortunately, is still the driving force in the community.
Yes.
And they do not want competition. They do not want those dollars going out of their budget and actually helping a child get a better education somewhere else. They don't want that.
No, not at all.
And so these a lot of times conservative lawmakers will just say, well, okay, I'll let me talk a good game, but I'm going to help derail it. Okay, I'm going to ask for another commission or another committee. Just give me 2 or 3 years, and we're going to do everything they can to protect the system. Now, you get into a lot of the suburban Republicans, you get into some others, they're all for it. But the thing is that you're not going to lose votes, even in the rural communities, by supporting school choice, because school choice now can reach into the rural areas to where you can say, listen, your school district where you're at doesn't offer what your student needs. Hey, you know what? You can enroll in this next district over.
Right.
Or you can do the online academy, or you can do homeschooling, and we're going to let those dollars follow that ship. But I am telling you is that the activist groups, the conservative groups, they are in it to win. They're not going to take much compromise this time around. They may take a little, but they're not going to relent, because right now school choice only happens basically in Kansas City and St. Louis.
Right.
And even then it's very limited, and it's not in the entire region. It's only in just a few small areas. So the laws are written very specifically to exclude as many kids and families as possible. And so what I think you're going to see is a full frontal assault for education freedom in 2024, and Republicans who get in the way had better beware, and Republicans who are mealy-mouthed and try to talk a good game while playing the Robert's Rules of Order or play the political behind-the-scenes thing to say, oh, I support it, but I'm going to try to amend it to death, or I'm going to try to send it to a committee where I know it's going to die, or I'm going to put it last on the agenda. They're not going to get away with it this year.
Yeah, I very much hope so. I very much hope that the because the momentum is on the side of school choice, just in general. I mean, we've talked about this before. How the one of the benefits of the lockdowns and kids having to do online school was that parents finally got a window into the classrooms. Yeah. And they saw stuff that they did not like and they didn't want at all. And those issues have only gotten bigger. Everyone's eyes are so wide open as to what's been going on in that's on top of the indoctrination, like you said, Mike, the absolute failure of these schools to actually educate kids. So, Johnny can't read, but he knows that there are 47 genders. That is unacceptable to parents, and they shouldn't accept it. And I don't think they will continue to do so. No. They're out for political blood, we'll say, on this issue, and I hope they do not relent.
So oppose school choice at your own risk, Republicans. On this one, Democrats, you're irrelevant to this particular conversation.
Yeah, sorry.
Republicans, if you're serious about this, you can do it, and we know it. And you know that we know it, and there is absolutely no excuse not to get it done this year.
Side benefit? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Gabe.
I was going to say side benefit is now you have an inroads into some communities that may not have always voted Republican.
Right.
Hello, GOP.
And speaking of communities, it's encouraging to see folks not only in this area, because we had Waterloo, Illinois, and a few on the Illinois side, with kids protesting in their schools.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Against transgender issues. I don't know if you guys caught it last Friday. There were a bunch of schools north of Philadelphia that also had walkouts.
Yes,
I saw that.
Regarding the bathroom issue for them. So it's good to see kids also grasping onto this issue and fighting back.
That cultural shift is happening as well.
Yes.
All right, just ahead here, what's next for your bottom line of your household money? We can talk to Eric Robert from Stiefel just ahead right here on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
A little light fog and dampness out there this morning. Temperatures in the low to mid 60s. A cloudy day with some spot showers and maybe a thunderstorm as we get into the afternoon. They're going to be very hit and miss. The high temperature 82 degrees. Very similar tomorrow. Lows tonight in the mid 60s. High tomorrow 82 degrees with a 30% chance of hit and miss showers and thunderstorms. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
I really like all the things you're saying.
News, analysis, opinion.
Thank you very, very much.
News Talk STL.
Hey, I'd like you to get to know Dr. Daniel Cusimano and Dr. Megan Dwyer. Those are dentists and my dental team, along with their dental team at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles. Whether it's economic value with their dental savings plan and their real concern about giving you value, which is, of course, quality at a great price, or whether it's their personal values, their dedication to absolute precision. I can tell you when I go in and get my treatment there, or just a cleaning, whatever, it's always, I get this feeling it's like laser-guided precision. Well, yeah, they have lasers, but they don't do that for everything, of course. It's the right tool for the right job. Whether it is dental implants, whether it's just general dentistry, cosmetic dentistry, and by the way, he can use some Botox in all the right ways for those applications as well. You'll find the greatest of care, the greatest value, delivered with people who have real values, the values we share at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles. Get to know them by calling 636-978-0226, 636-978-0226, or advanceddentistrynow.com. That's Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles.
Getting a new floor for your home can be intimidating and a little scary, but that's not the case when you go to Michaels Flooring Outlet. Katie here, and my mom and dad used Michaels, and they had a great experience. They've been a locally owned and operated family business for more than 30 years. You want variety? Michaels has carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, and many other options. Shop in-store at one of their 3 locations in Creve Coeur, Dardine Prairie, or St. Peters. Check out everything that Michaels has to offer at igotfloored.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. Doug and Safe Money Radio is on 3 times every weekend, but in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com or call 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. The Vic Porcelli Show. Columbo and Katie. Jones and Arps.
Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble.
Subscribe and watch.
News Talk STL.
Hello, morning people. Tony Colombo and Katie Fitzpatrick here.
Thanks for listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL. And don't forget to join us today at 2 for Columbo and Katie.
See you then.
All I wanna do when I wake up in the morning is see your eyes. Rosanna.
All right, the Federal Reserve keeps interest rates where they are, and to paraphrase Rush, even though I'm not a huge Rush fan, if you choose not to change anything, you still have made a choice.
What?
I'm paraphrasing.
Okay, all right. That's fine.
So what does this mean to you? I mean, what's the outlook mean to you? We can talk about what it means to business. We can talk about what it means to the overall economy, but what does it mean to you in particular? We're about to find out. Just ahead here, how far would you go to get that electronic gadget back that you're already addicted to and look at too much?
You're talking about my phone?
Talking about the iPhone, the Apple Watch, all of those things. One woman lost hers, and trying to get it back resulted in just a crappy day for her.
Did you just forget it somewhere? Or?
No, she dropped it. And ended up being like I said, crappy day. We'll talk about that around 7:50. All right, I'm Mike Ferguson. That's Gabe Pfeiffer gets Stel Ponticus right here. Okay, the Federal Reserve decides to leave interest rates where they are. Inflation, it's starting to come back down to earth a little bit, but still way too high, way higher than it should be. And so you can talk about all the business channels and all of the overall kind of macroeconomics all you want, but what does that mean to you? And of course, if you are taking your planning seriously for your finances, you talk to people like Eric Robert at Stifel. Of course, you can hear him every weekend right here on News Talk STL, and he joins us right now. And so, Eric, this is one of those things where I think people kind of get overwhelmed with all of the news anchors that want to sound like they're just brilliant economic experts, and they use a bunch of economic terms, and then we turn off the TV and go to work and think, okay, well, that guy really knows what he's talking about, but I don't know what it means to me. So when the Federal Reserve says we're going to leave interest rates where they are, does that mean our life does not change in a dynamic economy, or does that give us any indication of what's ahead?
It does give you an indication of what's ahead, because right now the Fed has increased rates not only at the fastest rate in history from 0 to now 5.5%, and then they've left them there. But the real signal here is that they're going to leave them there for longer than investors and at least right now markets expect, according to yesterday's announcement. What that means for people on a personal level is if you've been changing your behavior, maybe you put off buying that car because you're concerned about auto loan rates, or maybe you've put off other purchases, maybe you've changed what type of house you're trying to buy, you might want to start adapting, at least if you believe Fed Chair Jerome Powell at the Fed, that this rate environment could be sticking with us for some time. Now, that probably means up to a year in terms of leaving rates where they are, regardless of whether or not there might be one more hike involved.
Good morning, Eric. Gabe Pfeiffer here. So a lot of people had been making some changes in terms of their savings and investing strategies as well, anticipating these rate hikes to continue. What should they be doing in the face of this particular decision not to raise the rate?
Yeah, I thought we'd gotten the message out about this, but the biggest thing is if you have cash sitting in a passbook savings account, something that's not generating a yield of well north of 4.5% or even up to 5 or more percent, it's time to make some changes. And there are just very accessible options, extremely safe options. You don't have to take risk to make around 5% on your cash right now. That also changes the way many, particularly retirement investors, are considering their overall asset allocation, because we haven't had the opportunity to get decent yields on the more stable value portion of your portfolio that often is invested in things like bonds in years. And so, what we're encouraging people to do is if you're more risk averse as an investor, you don't like seeing those big swings in the market, you don't necessarily have to do that all the time, especially whenever you can get decent rates on the short end of the curve here.
Hey, good morning, Eric. Stalponticus here. Are you concerned about the rising rates for mortgages affecting the overall economy?
Boy, yes. So we actually had some housing data this week. I'll pull it up for you here on housing starts as well as new home construction. We saw housing starts come in at 1.28 million on an annualized rate, but it was about an 11% decline on a month-over-month basis. On the other hand, we saw building permits, which that kind of leads housing starts. Housing starts tell you which houses broke ground. Building permits tell you who's applying to build a house down the road. Building starts actually went up by about 6%. What makes this a difficult environment for housing and real estate?
Oh, did we lose you?
Historic highs. I'm still here for you guys.
We lost you for just a second. What we heard was what makes this a difficult, and then you dropped off. So if you could start there.
Gotcha. So what makes this a difficult environment for real estate is an average 30-year fixed mortgage right now is about 7.3%. A house that you could afford, 18 months ago, 2 years ago, may have a payment that's 2 times or higher what it would have been in that low interest rate environment. There's no inventory out there. So that's why people are building more houses. And if you've got to remember, this rate environment is not necessarily permanent. I'm loath to encourage people to consider something like an adjustable rate mortgage for a short-term interest rate hit, but you may need to consider a purchase. Always buy something you can afford, but consider whether or not you're going to have the opportunity to refinance that loan at lower rates down the road. Don't completely constrain every hope and dream you've ever had just because the interest rate isn't what you wanted. And you also have to, a little historical context here. 7+% mortgage rates seem nosebleedingly high relative to what we're used to over the last decade and a half. But if you rewind the clock going back about 30 years, they're not low by any means, but they're also not particularly high. Mortgage rates in the 6s were, for much of the 90s, were not beyond the pale. That was kind of what we were all used to for a long time. The bond yield curve, by the way, and not to get technical on you, Mike, but the bond yield curve is indicating that longer-term interest rates have risen over the last several months, suggesting that the bond market is saying when you take the federal government's debt from 80% of GDP up to 95+% of GDP, investors who are buying those bonds expect to get rewarded for the additional risk. That's a question that a lot of investors, such as myself, have is, where are these long-term interest rates going to fall? Because the Fed doesn't control the long end of the curve. And if we keep running $1 trillion+ deficits, well, that's going to, you got to pay the piper at some point here.
Yeah, and we're paying it through the inflation as well. I mean, and this is kind of an awkward, ugly dance between the interest rates and inflation because they're trying to tamp down inflation, but that's one of the ways that we're paying for it is through these interest rates. And so the question comes down to how do we take those interest rates that are going up and leverage those in our favor?
It's all about whether or not you are a saver and a producer of capital. Are you a spender of capital? And this gets back to like the Dave Ramsey type principles of, don't be in debt. If you're in debt, get out of it. These interest rates are working against you if you're paying interest. They're working for you more and more every day if you have savings and you can earn the interest. And of course, I'm always going to encourage you to be on the right side of that ledger.
Okay, so somebody says I need to call my financial advisor. If they don't have one, they should be calling you. But what are the questions they should be asking about maybe a typical financial plan, whether it's a retirement plan, an IRA, a 401k, or your personal situation? You just mentioned debt. What are the first things that we should be reviewing right now as we look to what's ahead in the next 3 months, 6 months, 12 months?
Sure. Well, let's just set one group of people out here, and that's younger investors. Let's say you've got 20 years or more to retirement. You're under the age 40, 45 or so. You need to not worry about short-term swings in the market and invest in high-quality investments for the long term and just let this go. But if you're approaching retirement, there's a risk, what we call sequence of returns risk, which means strong negative returns early in your retirement can have an outsized impact on your lifetime income. You may want to consider changing the makeup of your portfolio. That does not necessarily mean selling stocks, by the way, but which stocks you own and their proclivity to be able to decline sharply if we do get another economic downturn. That's something people approaching retirement need to consider, because we have an inverted yield curve between the 10-year yield and the 2-year yield. Every time that's happened in history that we've been recording this, there's been a recession at some point. That doesn't mean it's immediate. It might be a year later, 18 months later. Maybe this time is different. Just because you have a recession doesn't mean markets go down sharply. We kind of already experienced that last year, but just be advised it can happen. And you need to be prepared for that, especially if you're approaching or in retirement.
Okay, Eric, obviously we can hear you every weekend here on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. What's the website information? People want to get in touch. They've got more questions. I'd encourage them to connect with you directly. What's the way to do that?
Yeah, clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. You can also call our office anytime, 636-695-2650.
All right, Eric, appreciate you giving us the update.
Thanks, Eric.
Thanks, guys.
All right, 314-912-1019. How far would you go to get back that tech device that we sit and stare at every day?
I suspect that this lady might have gone further than I would.
Farther than I would go. This is ugly.
Oh, boy.
I'll tell you what not to do. Don't end up being this kind of person. I'll explain right around 7:50 here on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
For podcast articles and more, find us on newstalkstl.com. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
We're here with our great friends, Kathy and Rob Connor from Connor Roofing. One thing I love about your company, Kathy, is customer service.
We pride ourselves on making sure our customers are happy, and you can check out our Google reviews. We're very proud of that as well. And if you're not happy, we will do what it takes to fix the problem.
Well, that's just it. You set expectations, and we like to really educate our customers, and it gets done the way we said we were going to do it.
Call Connor Roofing, 314-375-7475, or connorroofing.com. That's CONNER roofing.com.
Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9, right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Get involved and make a difference. Be part of this year's St. Louis County Lincoln Reagan Day dinner featuring former Trump Deputy Press Secretary Hogan Gidley. Plus, special MC for the night, News Talk STL's own Chris Arps. Have dinner, support the St. Louis County RNC, and hear Hogan Gidley Saturday night, September 30th in the River City Casino Ballroom. For more information, visit stlcorepublicans.org. That's stlcorepublicans.org.
Paid for by the Republican Central Committee of St. Louis County. Kevin Turner, Treasurer. Not authorized by any candidate or candidate committee.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the morning brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com.
Hi, this is Mark McCloskey. Check out my show, Mark McCloskey on Fire, Sunday afternoon at 5 here on News Talk STL. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Let me grab my phone here. I spend too much time looking at this stupid thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You guys ever find yourself in a situation you're like, wait a minute, I've been looking at this thing how long?
Mine gives me weekly reports on my usage.
Oh,
and
is it
it's
bad?
It's horrible.
See, mine gives me hourly reports. Oh, that's my wife, actually.
There you go.
You've been on the phone for 3 hours.
Get off. Get off of that thing.
Oh, come on, sweetie. It's only been 2.
Oh,
no, it's been 3. I'm counting.
I'm counting.
What's the thing that gets you lost in it for a little bit? Because I know exactly what snags me, and I'm like, gosh, how long have I been looking at this thing?
It's either a YouTube rabbit hole or doom scrolling on Twitter.
Yeah, for me, it's the reels on Facebook.
Oh,
those videos.
yes.
For me, it's podcasts.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So if I get involved in let's say a 2-hour podcast with maybe Viva Fry and lawyer Robert Barnes, and I get in at the beginning, I'm gone for 2 hours.
2 hours.
You know, but I'm going to say that is better than what I do.
Okay.
That's the equivalent of reading a book.
Okay. Yeah,
versus us watching TV.
Yeah, you're dealing with actual content, and I'm watching the Savannah Bananas.
Oh yeah,
try to get a hit with a guy on stilts. Or I'm looking at the video from the family that has a pet panther. I mean,
right, exactly. Or I'm watching the video of the dog that has little talkie buttons.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Oh, it's so cute.
It is. It is. Except for the one where he keeps calling his owner the B word. You've seen that one?
I've seen that one.
Yeah. All right. It is 7:53. The bottom line is that we spend way too much time on the phones. And, of course, now you got the Apple Watch as well.
Yeah.
A woman in Michigan had to be rescued by police because she lost her Apple Watch.
Oh, okay. Back up. Hold on.
If you lose your phone,
Yeah.
do you guys have I don't have an Apple Watch. Do you have an Apple Watch?
No.
Okay.
No.
But let's say you lose your phone.
Sure.
Because they're connected.
Yeah.
Do you panic when you realize you lost it?
No, I mean I have an iPad that does the Find My Device thing, right? And of course there's always the go-to, hey honey, call my phone.
Yes. But how many times do we start to head out somewhere and you get in your car and you go, oh, I forgot my phone.
Oh yeah.
And you have to stop and go, because you could go to the grocery store without your phone.
It's possible.
But we don't do it.
No.
Because you feel lost.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
So this woman was in an outhouse, one of those porta potty type things, outhouse.
Oh no!
She dropped her Apple Watch into the toilet.
No, Okay, all right.
Now get back here, Gabe.
Not today.
Not
Satan.
today, Satan. Man,
she lowered herself into the muck.
Come on.
To look for her Apple Watch.
Why? It's not that. Look, it's okay. I understand. Apple Watches are expensive.
Yeah.
They're not that expensive.
She got stuck.
She got stuck in the pooper.
I don't know how. I don't know whether it was knee length or what. I don't know. But she knowingly dropped herself into a big pit of poop.
Having a crappy day.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Got stuck. They had to call the police.
Oh my gosh.
Can you imagine the cops getting that call from the dispatcher and them going, dispatcher, what?
Did I say again?
Exactly. Can you repeat that? I don't know. Is there a 10 code for woman in the pooper? And so they get out there and they look. There she is.
Oh my gosh.
In the thing. And this was a pretty big one too. This was not the ones you see at the county fair or whatever.
Sure.
This was a big one.
Yeah. It was like a true outhouse,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Sitting on a gigantic hole full of the stuff.
I don't care who you are. That's funny right there.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh.
Now,
yeah.
She did find the Apple Watch, which I would never want to put back on my body.
Why would you? Okay, I'm still having trouble. I'm
Yeah.
having trouble, man.
Oh, geez. Okay.
How much is an Apple Watch?
I don't know. I don't wear watches.
Okay, look. This gets into one of those questions what would you do for, and then somebody name some number of money.
Right.
I've seen people do those things.
Sure.
It's like, how much money would it take for you to jump into the receptacle area of an outhouse? It's definitely more than the cost of an Apple Watch. It is absolutely more than the cost of an Apple Watch. I tell you that much.
Oh man! Well, the police
Like $400.
Is that all it is?
$400.
So the police in this town in Michigan, and they're not saying what city it was, they issued a public reminder saying, and I'm quoting, if you lose an item in an outhouse toilet, do not attempt to venture inside the contaminated area. Serious injury may occur. Now, she was not actually injured, but you know that they're like, we have to say something because this is so stupid. And so we're going to make fun of her without making fun of her because we're not going to say her name.
Well, ask her, what would you do for $400? Jumping in a outhouse? You know what would be worse? If it was the $250 model.
Oh, jeez.
You dummy.
I think if you would do it for that $400 one, you'd do it for anything if you were that dumb.
Yeah, I think so. Not today, Satan.
Welcome home to St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
Democrats do what they do.
We choose truth over facts. News, analysis, and opinion.
Whoosh. This campaign is about courage. Our economic plan is working.
We believe in a government that represents all, not just the few.
Making new investments to enhance the transparency of Ukraine's institutions and to bolster the rule of law.
101.9 and 94.1.
This is what we want. We're going to take control.
It's okay to state your opinion.
News Talk STL.
Hey, Tim Jones here with Tony Colombo for our friends Rodney and Jen Wallner at the Wallner Home Selling Team. If you're thinking about taking advantage of the market and selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now. Put St. Louis's #1 home selling team to work for you. Rodney and Jen have the experience and work ethic that sets them apart from all the rest. That's why they sell 15 times more homes per year than your typical realtor and have so many qualified buyers right now. They'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. The results, Tony, speak for themselves.
That's right, Tim. In fact, I recently benefited from those results personally. My wife and I couldn't be happier with the job the Wallners did for us, selling our old home in less than 2 days for significantly more than we were asking for and finding us the perfect new home. Like so many others, we loved working with Rodney and Jen, the Wallner Home Selling Team with Berkshire Hathaway. So if you're thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD.
Want to tell you folks about two fantastic local businesses located right next door to each other in beautiful Chesterfield Valley at 17409 Chesterfield Airport Road, Espino's Mexican Grill and Hippo's Cannabis Dispensary. I've been a customer of Espino's for the 2 decades they've been open, serving great Mexican specialties and really cold drinks. Hippo's Cannabis Dispensary, brand new business located right next door to Espino's. Both businesses have fantastic people working for each one of them. And at Hippo's, you might run into co-owners Brett Hull, Kelly Chase, or Barrett Jackman. Espino's Mexican Grill, experienced personal bartenders and waitresses to take your order. Hippo's has got those experienced personal bud tenders to walk you through the entire process. Two fantastic businesses, 17409 Chesterfield Airport Road, Espino's MexicanBarGrill.com, Hippo's Cannabis.com.
All deals valid only while supplies last. Must be over 21. No cash value. Management retails all rights. Medical decisions should not be made based on advertising. Consult a physician on the benefits and risks of particular medical marijuana products. This message is not designed to increase interest in purchasing medical marijuana nor any particular product. License number DIS 000129.
Mystic Fix is sponsored by Kama Flight, redefining the dance between the masculine and feminine. Kama Flight is a somatic movement practice merging yoga, meditation, and massage. Workshops in 2023 are at the Chosen Retreat Center in Sebastian, Florida. For more, visit Kama Flight on Instagram at KAMAFLIGHT.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNVS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Ukraine's president stops by the White House later today.
It will be Volodymyr Zelensky's first visit to Washington since his surprise address to Congress at the end of last year. At that time, there was strong U.S. support for helping Ukraine defend itself against Russia's invasion. But now there's partisan bickering over approving new assistance. President Biden will host Ukraine's leader for talks in the Oval Office and is sure to renew his request for billions more in military and humanitarian aid for Ukraine. Greg Clugston, Washington.
While in Ukraine, the war grinds on.
In the city of Cherkasy, rescue workers scour the rubble of a destroyed building. They managed to pull an injured man from under the debris and carry him on a stretcher to safety. The countrywide barrage coincided with the United Nations General Assembly Summit in New York. At the summit, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky delivered a speech in which he presented a Ukrainian peace formula. I'm Karen Chamas.
Working into the night, House Republican leaders have crafted a stopgap spending bill extending government funding for 1 month beyond the September 30th deadline for a partial government shutdown.
I think we're making some progress. We made some progress last night. Look, it's not September 30th. The game is not over, so we continue to work through it. And I've been at this place many times before, and we're going to solve this problem.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. The stopgap bill would trim spending by roughly $130 billion. It would not reduce spending on the military, Veterans Affairs, or Homeland Security. A test vote on the measure expected later today. Looks like we're headed for a lower open this morning on Wall Street. Stock futures deep in the red. Dow futures down 214 points, and NASDAQ futures off 195 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Relief factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
Hi, Rhett Rasmussen of BestHotGrill.com. Step up your grilling game with our Solaire portable infrared grills. Our compact everywhere is a favorite of RVers and trailer pullers. Solaire Infrared provides the quick sear for bar marks and texture needed to properly finish sous vide. Use a portable alongside your larger conventional grill to create an instant sear zone and more juicy and flavorful food. Learn more at BestHotGrill.com. Affordable, powerful, portable infrared grills at BestHotGrill.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
A little light fog and dampness out there this morning. Temperatures in the low to mid 60s. A cloudy day with some spot showers and maybe a thunderstorm as we get into the afternoon. They're going to be very hit and miss. The high temperature 82 degrees. Very similar tomorrow. Lows tonight in the mid 60s. High tomorrow 82 degrees with a 30% chance of hit and miss showers and thunderstorms. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Legends of Country Rock with Pure Prairie League, Atlanta Rhythm Section, Richie Furay from Poco and Buffalo Springfield, and Firefall. Saturday, September 30th, the Family Arena. Tickets on sale now at the Carroll House box office located at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster. Don't miss Legends of Country Rock live.
BTO is back. Bachman Turner Overdrive. Back in Overdrive Tour. October 19th at the Family Arena. BTO Live with Mark Farner's American Band. Reserved seats on sale now at the Carroll House Furniture box office at the Family Arena or Ticketmaster. Don't miss the return of BTO in concert.
Mike Ferguson.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Gabe Pfeiffer.
We have a hope.
Get up, in case you hear the alarm. Get up.
What do you call a genius in President Biden's Homeland Security Department? A visitor.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, in case you hear the alarm. Get up.
All right, we're closing in on the second GOP presidential debate, and the first one caught a lot of people off guard.
Yes.
Just by the sheer number of people watching, just sheer size of the audience. Because I think people, especially the RNC, they were worried that, you know what, people are just going to tune out. They're not interested. Donald Trump's not going to be there. Nobody's going to care. And they did care a lot. So we've got the next one coming up on Wednesday. So let's talk about what that landscape looks like. We haven't checked in on this race for a little while. So
things seem to have been quiet, but these guys are still campaigning.
Oh, absolutely. And the race is not over. As much as I think a lot of people want to just assume that it's completely over. We know who the nominees are going to be in next year. No, we don't, actually. There's a lot that can happen. All right, it's 8:06 right now. I'm Mike Ferguson, and we've got Gabe Pfeiffer here. We've got Stel Ponticus here. Don't forget, the Republican Central Committee of St. Louis County is actually having their annual Lincoln Reagan Day dinner on September 30th, and you can be there. Go to stlcorepublicans.org, STLCO for St. Louis County, stlcorepublicans.org to get your ticket information. Attorney General Andrew Bailey is going to be speaking. Missouri State Treasurer Vivek Malek is going to be speaking. Speaker of the House Dean Plocker is going to be speaking, and the keynote's going to be delivered by Newsmax contributor, former White House Deputy Press Secretary under Donald Trump, Hogan Gidley, is going to be speaking, and it's going to be emceed by our very own Chris Arps.
I think I heard about that guy.
Yeah, I've met that guy. I don't have his autograph or anything, but I've met him before.
Yeah.
All right. So the next Republican presidential debate is on Wednesday. Donald Trump again says he's not going to participate in it.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's standard considering that the original reasoning was so far ahead, and at least from a political standpoint, that means he has nothing really to gain and everything to lose from putting himself, on a stage with a bunch of people that he considers also rants.
Well, he's declared victory, and it's like, I don't need to bother with appealing to the voters.
Yeah,
the primary and the caucuses.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the rhetorical reason, but I think the political reason is more it's strategic. It's like there's nothing to gain.
The way that these are being set up is that the candidates get to challenge each other. They get to have a direct comparison. They get to challenge each other.
Right.
And that's a risk for Donald Trump. I mean, just from a voter perspective here, I wish he would be at the debates. I think the voters deserve a chance to have all of the candidates challenge each other, be challenged by each other, and get that direct comparison. But he's not going to do it. That's his choice. That's his right. I get what you're saying, and I get what he's saying on that, but he's not going to be there on that. So he's still going to have, obviously, he'll be a presence in the room because people will get to compare themselves to him. He just won't get to respond.
Compare and contrast, by the way. Yeah. So it is kind of interesting what his absence brings in terms of the dynamic to the stage. So now on top of that, though, you get the dynamic between the candidates absent his presence. So it's kind. I mean, I don't know. It seems to be a benefit to them, though, on some level.
Well, yeah, because, you don't have him interrupting everybody. I mean, this is his style of debates and things, and even interviews, is he doesn't like something, he just runs over the top of you. I don't know that he'd be allowed to do that in these as well. I think he would have less control, so maybe that's another reason. But I think it's unfortunate that he's not going to be there. Let's just put it that way.
I'd rather he be there.
I think so. I would rather he be there, but he's not going to.
I think he would be there if it was on Newsmax or RAV or one of the other alternative media networks. Just my personal opinion.
No, I think you
possibly,
maybe.
Possibly.
I think for what the reasons that Gabe was laying out.
No, I understand.
I think that might not be, but I think he would take a closer look at it if it were on one of the other networks.
Oh yeah, he's got a significant personal reason why he wants to shun Fox affiliated things.
Right.
Like that's basically when he doesn't like you, when he feels like you've betrayed him, then you're on the outs. Absolutely.
He values personal loyalty, I think, above just about anything else, which is why he goes after candidates, because he's offended that they're running in competition with him as well. Okay, but some other candidates, let's see here. Tim Scott was on with Hannity last night, and he's going back to that theme, going back to people voting their wallets and their station in life.
This is like the sequel to the Jimmy Carter years. It is devastating, and it's devastating working class Americans. They've lost thousands of dollars of spending power, and without any question, whether you're a non-union or a union worker, you're being devastated by the Bidenomics. Devastated.
And so I actually thought the comparison to this is, the rerun of Jimmy Carter.
Mm-hmm.
For voters who are, 50 years old and over, really, 50, probably 60 years old and older, who are the people who vote more often than younger voters in primaries and caucuses, that's going to resonate a lot.
Absolutely. And especially in these early caucuses, because I think the early caucus voter tends to be older, tends to be a lot more politically engaged than your typical type. So the appeal of that sort of appeal is going to go a long way, and that can change the dynamics. Those early victories or those early big numbers, if you can put them up, could really, really change the dynamics of a campaign going through.
And also on Hannity last night was Vivek Ramaswamy.
The idea that you get ahead in this country, not on the color of your skin, but on the content of your character. I think 80% of people in this country agree on that, and half the 20 are people younger than me who never learned those ideals in the first place. We're going to bring them along, too. And if we do, Sean, I think we can win the 2024 election.
Okay, so that's one of the things Vivek Ramaswamy is arguing is I can win the younger vote. They'll come with me, and they won't necessarily come with other Republican candidates. But at the same time, he's telling him you're too dumb to vote. If you're not 25, you need.
It's a very weird juxtaposition of his positions. He on the one hand, he seems to be courting the younger vote. Mm-hmm. Now, to be fair, when he says younger like me, that's
he's 35.
He's in his 30. Yeah, exactly. So he's kind of outside the realm of the people that he's targeting with his desire to limit the vote to 25-year-olds or 18-plus-year-olds who've served in some federal capacity.
Yeah, some government.
Some
capacity.
government.
It could be local.
You're right.
Yeah,
some
it could be first responder or whatever.
You're right.
Or pass a test.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. There is the test also. So it's a weird flex, but I mean, you can make arguments for those. It's just that it's difficult to do for a campaign style, and it seems like a contradictory message. And I guess that's one of the things that's kind of striking me right now. Vivek, I think he made a big splash coming in.
Oh yeah.
And in some polls, and of course,
I'll spare everybody my rant on polls.
In some polls, he's showing, he's showing some gains, and in others, he's showing some downturn. So it's very interesting. He's got a mixed bag of reactions right now. So I'm wondering how this is all going to progress throughout the rest of the.
I'm still
campaign.
glad he's in the race.
Oh, sure.
I think that his presence in that first debate, I think really added a lot to the conversation, and I'm going to be interested to see what he's learned from the first debate, because that's a really, really high pressure situation. All right, let's go to Pat here. Hey, Pat, you're on News Talk STL. What's your take?
Okay, my take is that Donald Trump should not go to the debate until they allow him to not have to sign a statement that he backs whatever candidate wins.
Yeah, that was something he complained. A few other candidates, too. And actually, Pat, to be fair, I think all of us here agree with that. That is the RNC is fumbling this entire, this entire debate thing, the way that they're trying to control it. So I think that's a lousy thing the RNC is doing.
I feel like they think they can go through and railroad somebody in at the last second.
Yeah. Now, what
they'll all have to support them.
Yeah, that's their argument. The RNC is saying, unless you're going to be a team player, fight it out. But in the end, we got to win the race, and that's what their argument is. Which I get it. But there are some people on the stage that I would not vote for. Yeah. No, that part. I think that part's fair. I actually agree with that part.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
You got it, Pat. Yeah, I think the RNC is making a ridiculous mistake with that pledge. Now, like, for instance, our friend, I think Chris Harps and I disagree on that, but because the party has an interest in not splintering after.
Yes.
So I get that, but this is where I don't like the RNC basically saying we're going to take a monopoly on this, because another part of that agreement is that you won't participate in debates that are not sanctioned by the RNC. So I think Ronna McDaniel and the RNC are a big part of this problem as well.
Now, I would argue that there was a way to split the baby on that whole thing, in that, first of all, you don't tie it to only sanctioned debates and all these things. But in terms of the not wanting to split the party, you simply have essentially a non-aggression pact.
Yeah.
So that whoever wins, I'm not going to counter campaign. I'm not going to campaign against him. I'm not, but don't require, affirmation. Don't require campaigning for them. I think it's enough that you don't, you say, hey, cease fire on each other post primaries, but you don't have to be my ally.
Yeah, I think that would be a common sense way to go.
Yeah.
But also the RNC is actively trying to weed out as many candidates as they can.
Yes, and I think that's probably one of the reasons why they took such a hard stance on all of their positions here.
I mean, it's, for instance, we were joking about how none of us had ever heard of Doug Burgum.
Yeah.
Or Burgum. I still don't know his
Burgum?
name. Burgum?
It's Burgum.
Burgum.
I had heard of him because I somehow happened to catch his when he made his commitment to make the presidential run, and it was done at a high school in North Dakota. And I remember, for some reason, I happened to hear it on the radio, and it sounded like a high school rally. Is what it sounded like. I thought, well, this is interesting, and he's got some great insights, and he's a great businessman. He's done a great job in that state.
He has.
But it just made it sound very odd doing it in essentially a high school gym.
Yeah, and after that first debate, he raised a lot of money.
Yeah.
And he connected with some people, but there's a good chance he won't be in the next one when clearly there were people who wanted to hear what he had to say. So the RNC is trying to say, okay, each one of these is another round of elimination, and it is way too early for that. And the RNC shouldn't be the ones deciding who's eliminated and who's not. So I hate the way that they're actually doing this.
Oddly enough, I think Doug Burgum would make a good presidential candidate in another era entirely.
Yeah, possibly.
You know what I mean? He's very statesman-like. He's very staid and controlled in the way he delivers his messages. I think philosophically he seems to be solidly conservative and recognizes the role of government and all these other things. But like he seems like the candidate from prior to radio. You know what I mean? It's like you only see his writings. That's what I mean? Or if you actually attend the debate, it's one where there are two very large wing-backed armchairs, and and some guy. You know what I mean? It's that he's that type of candidate to me.
Now, here's what's interesting. First of all, I just want to point out this doesn't have anything to do with what they said at the debate. He broke his leg that day.
That's right.
Yeah,
and
that's
he
right.
literally stood up and held his own on a debate with a freshly broken leg.
That's true.
I'm like, okay. I'm not saying. I mean, he's not one of my finalists for who I'm gonna vote for if I go to the caucuses. But I'm like, that's impressive.
That's some huge cred right there.
That's
really
true.
impressive.
That was a boss move. And then his opening line about he's like, hey, they wish me luck by saying break a leg. I didn't. I
took it seriously.
I took it seriously. That dude, that was on point.
Here's
really
one
was.
of the things to keep in mind is that I think even all of us here kind of thought, well, this debate isn't going to be that much, the first one. And to date this year, that debate is the highest rated television program outside of sports this year. More people watched that debate than watched anything else on television this year.
Oh my gosh.
Other than sports.
And that was without Larry Elder.
Without Larry Elder, which he should have been there.
I want to see him in there.
I want to see Larry Elder in there.
He absolutely should have been contributing to that
But
discussion.
that was without Larry Elder and without Donald Trump. I mean, so that tells me that there's a lot of interest in these debates. And yes, they got chirpy at each other and they talked over each other, which I hate. But there was some really good conversation there. There were moments where that was a really impressive debate. Other moments, kind of got a little crossfire-ish. But it was some good stuff. One of the things that you're going to hear on my syndicated show this weekend, if you're up on Sunday morning, and I'll probably use it next week on the program, I talked to one of the writers over at Free the People, who's arguing that none of the candidates for the Republicans, none of them, are offering a proactive message that everybody can rally under. He thinks that they are all running against something or someone, which you can be right on the policy, but he's arguing that they have got to do like what Reagan did,
right?
And give everybody that uniting theme to run under. I see what he's saying. I'm not so sorry. I mean, I think Tim Scott's doing that.
He's
to
attempting
some degree.
that.
Yeah, he's trying to do that. But he's still basically, they're saying, look at how bad things are under Biden, and that's what they're running under. And they're right about that. So it's an interesting conversation you want to hear on American Viewpoints this week. And I'll have it, I'll reuse it on the show next week sometime as well.
I think absolutely, he's right. But it's one of those political questions, right? Yeah. Do I run against, because it's so easy to point out the problems in America, and point to the one who's causing them, and you want to point to a bright future that America has, but selling that message, I think, takes a skill that typical politicians don't have. Right. It takes a Reagan who was an actor, right? I think on some level to be able to emote properly and point us to what a hopeful America looks like.
What did he do before he was an actor?
Well, I'm trying to remember.
A union guy? Am I going too far
he
back?
was a union guy while he was an actor.
Okay.
He was a radio broadcaster.
Oh,
radio
that's right.
broadcaster. Hey, look at that.
WHO in Des Moines.
WHO in Des Moines. That's right.
There's hope for a shit.
No,
not really, no.
All right, got some thoughts on this. Let me know. 314-912-1019. Let's cover some other updates on the news, including St. Louis County Police involved in a shooting last night. Give the update on that just ahead right here on 1019 94.1 News Talk STL.
We give you news, analysis, opinion, and more. Only on News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Get up, can't you hear the alarm? Get up, this is your cousin car. Get up.
Southern Armory, your hometown gun store. Come and be more than just a customer. Southern Armory, we carry the best guns, holsters, knives, magazines, ammunition, and even food storage. Special orders are welcome. Southern Armory, 1 mile east of 270 and 44, 9901 Watson Road, and southernarmory.com. That's southernarmory.com.
Whether you're purchasing your first firearm or adding to your collection at Southern Armory, you're more than a customer, you're part of the family. Follow Southern Armory on Facebook or at southernarmory.com.
We all know the healthcare system's broken. It's not about you. It's about the code, the bill, the 7-minute appointment. Hi, it's Dr. Randy Tobler, and I've developed a better way that restores old-fashioned values with a holistic approach to your health care. That means affordable, available, no copay or deductible primary care. And with my 30-plus years as an OBGYN, there's added value for women and couples. Whether it's a new or nagging problem, you need a second look at a troubling diagnosis, or simply want a trusting, relationship-based healthcare experience, give us a look at Body of Health Direct Primary Care. Our mission is to provide exceptional, accessible, and truly affordable care where the focus is on you, not insurance denial and cookbook medicine experts. And with your membership, there's a number of perks, including hundreds of free meds, in-office ultrasound, common diagnostic tests, and more. Interested in seeing me or learning more about healthcare the way it ought to be? Schedule an appointment or a discovery call at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
This Saturday night at 10 on Stories of New Americans.
I'm joined by Yuri Bolato from Korea. How was it coming to America? Was that tough?
I love St. Louis. St. Louis is a kind of city, like a countryside half and city side half. And so that's why I really love St. Louis. Very, very intelligent city.
Oh.
I love that, yeah.
Stories of New Americans. Saturday nights at 10 on News Talk STL.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk. Live and local.
I need to know what's going on in my city.
News Talk STL.
Bill O'Reilly here. Check out the O'Reilly Update this afternoon at 3:45. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Man, I haven't heard this song in forever. Poison. Life Goes On.
Life Goes On.
That was off the Flesh and Blood album.
Exactly. Yes, that's right.
Good God. In fact, I know that.
What'd you have for dinner last night?
I have no idea.
Neither do I.
Cereal.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got back from my baseball game, and I didn't want to cook anything. And I made the mistake on the field. I was going to say, because we got whooped last night.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to run through a drive-through. And one of my teammates lectured me on fast food. I'm like, I'm just going to go through drive-thru. He's like, no, you're not, Mike. You've already put on some weight. Don't. Stop doing that. We need you to play well in Florida. I'm like, all right.
You know, sometimes you just need your boys to rip you a new one.
I know. He did.
That's how you know you got good friends.
He actually told me, he goes, man, because one of our other friends kind of came out to watch our game, and even our friend left halfway through because we were getting our asses kicked.
Ooh, man.
I don't blame him. He's like, Bubba even said to me, he goes, man, Mike's put on some weight. And I'm going, no, I'm wearing 2 shirts.
No, man,
it's not.
just...
No, I just. So Mark let me have it about thinking about I was going to go get a burger or something like that. All right.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay, don't look now. There are a lot of illegals rushing the southern border these days. Does New York City have more room in their sanctuary?
No, they are all out of room. They are very scared and afraid of continued influxes of like 5, 10, 15 immigrants at a time because they're the sanctuary city was forced to do a sanctuary and they didn't want.
Let's get the buses ready.
Hey.
All right, let's go.
Hello, Chicago. Here they come.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, some other things happening in the news here. St. Louis County police officers exchanged gunshots with a man in Afton last night. Police were called to the home on Rambler, and it was a domestic situation. All the media reports are saying domestic situation. They're not specifically saying domestic violence. They're just saying domestic situation, whatever that means. Police say when officers arrived, the man was sitting on the porch with a handgun in each hand, so 2 guns. They tried to de-escalate, but he raised his guns and pointed them at them. Both he and the officers fired shots. The man, whose name has not been released as of at least an hour ago or so, he sustained life-threatening injuries from the shooting. There were no police officers hurt in the situation.
Man, is it ever going to end? Is the question?
No.
Is the particularly not under the current laws, the current administrations. No, but gosh.
Well, and the thing is that my dad was a police officer before I was born, and he was the senior chaplain for the Illinois State Police back in the 90s, I guess it was. And between the stories that the officers would say to my dad and the police officers I've known over the years, I hear over and over and over again that the call that police officers dread as much as anything else is a domestic violence situation.
Yes.
Because the emotions are redlining, all reason goes out the window.
Mm-hmm.
It's very difficult to control people who are having those kind of emotional outbursts. They've lost their mind. I've had a couple cops tell me, and Dad said that, some officers have told him they'd rather get called to a bar fight than they would a domestic violence situation.
Oh, my gosh, really?
Right. Now, obviously, there are worse cases out there, somebody being shot or whatever. But because they are so unpredictable, and those are the ones where somebody can get hurt.
Oh, my gosh.
Very, very quickly. And in this case, maybe that's what happened. We don't know. What will happen now is the Highway Patrol will come in and take over the investigation.
Right.
In the meantime, the guy is in the hospital with what's described as life-threatening injuries, like I just said.
Gosh.
Okay, let's see here. Immigration. Yeah, there's a lot of that going on these days here, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Particularly the illegal kind.
The illegal kind, yes. But there was a hearing at the Capitol yesterday before we talk about the immigration stuff. U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland testified that the DOJ has not been politicized. They have not been trying to protect the Biden family. So we're good. We're good. It's fine.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
They just declared it. It's like
Right.
like Michael Scott in The Office saying, "I declare bankruptcy," and he would just say it.
Right.
And that because he believed that would make it real.
Well, speaking of what was said, get this, and I'm gonna read my news copy like word for word here. Attorney General Garland says Special Counsel David Weiss was unable to bring charges against Hunter Biden, and that he always had the authority to bring charges if he wanted to.
What?
My brain hurts.
Those are contradictory statements, sir.
They are, yes. Congressman Jim Jordan was on Hannity last night.
On July 10th, David Weiss tells Senator Graham, "I have not sought special counsel authority." Then on August 11th, the Attorney General announces that David Weiss will be a special counsel. What happened in those 32 days? What took place? The whistleblowers came forward with their testimony and the plea deal that they were trying to sweep everything under the rug.
And, of course, the White House still maintains that President Joe Biden had absolutely no knowledge or involvement of Hunter Biden's shady business dealings.
Of course not. I mean, the WhatsApp messages, the emails, the text messages, the probably recorded phone calls that we haven't heard yet. All of those do not lead one to conclude that he was at all involved in any of those meetings that the people who attended the meeting said he was in there.
Two.
Yeah, the flight on Air Force Two. The testimony by the business partner to say that he was on several calls.
Yeah.
All of that is circumstantial and fake. It's fake news.
I mean, okay, but other than that,
there's absolutely no evidence.
And boy, it got pretty touchy when they touched on the January 6th situation, because when they backed Garland against the wall on that, and he denied any involvement with having to influence any of the prosecution that was being done, and then whoever was questioning him, I don't remember who it was, made the comment about, well, what about Ray Epps? All of a sudden you decide to slap him on the wrist. You had him on the very first list of the top 10 fugitives. Right after January 6th, he was on the post office photos, and then all of a sudden he was taken off. So, and Garland backed off and said, well, I really didn't get involved in any of that.
I wonder if we're going to get any whistleblowers on that stuff.
No. So they really pushed him into a corner on a lot of issues yesterday.
Yeah, well, the idea that he was going to come in and think he was going to have an easy day.
You thought this was going to be simple, sir.
The thing is a lot of times these types come in, because remember he was almost on the U.S. Supreme Court.
Oh my gosh,
Remember
that's
that?
right.
That's
Yeah.
scary.
That's right.
And a lot of them, they get this concept in their head that's like, you know what, I'm the smarter one. I'm going to come slap them around. And then they realize, oh, these are some pretty smart people, too.
Oh, yeah, that's
Or
right.
even the dumb ones might have some good points as well. Here, local news again real quick here. EPA tells the city of St. Charles to stop using one of the water wells. Here we go again in St. Charles County, or St. Charles City, rather. Vinyl chloride was found in the water from city well number 4.
Vinyl chloride?
Vinyl chloride.
Jeez.
Yeah, this is after Ameren installed a barrier that supposedly was designed to limit the chemical. Now, 6 of the city's 7 wells have tested positive for some kind of contamination recently. City officials and Ameren just point the finger at each other. They're blaming each other for the problems. But this is serious. This is like literally the safety of something as basic as your drinking water.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that's some seriously toxic stuff there.
Yeah, and so there's just a lot more to this, and you're going to have litigation and all kinds of other stuff. And the city's been told now, stop interfering with what Ameren's doing. Ameren, of course, being blamed for not stopping the actual contamination as well. Okay, illegal immigration continuing at the southern border. Thousands of people are rushing into the U.S. Congressman Tony Gonzalez, he is a Republican out of Texas, was on Your World with Neil Cavuto on Fox Business last night. And he says, listen, a lot of the problem is the cartels control the border. That's before you even get to the Biden policies. But then again, the cartels controlling the border are because of the Biden policies. Here's what he had to say about the number of crossings they're dealing with right now.
I'm getting reports that there were nearly 3,000 people that crossed illegally today. They're expecting that same number tomorrow, and maybe as upwards of 10,000 by Friday.
By the way, one of the bridges that people who go back and forth between the U.S. and Mexico legally, that bridge may be shut down here the next day or so because it's so overwhelmed because of the illegal immigration problem.
Oh my gosh, this whole thing is a debacle.
And you know what? Speaking of immigration, I wonder what the folks are thinking at Busch Stadium the other day when the Cardinals honored the latest batch of individuals who passed all their immigration stuff, became U.S. citizens.
Did it right, yeah.
I'm wondering what they were thinking regarding, I'm sure they were ecstatic to be there and to be honored, but I'm sure in the back of their minds, they probably were considering what's going on at the border.
There are a lot of immigrants, legal immigrants, who hate.
Oh,
yeah.
You want to talk to somebody who really loathes an illegal immigrant? Talk to a legal immigrant.
Yes, they hate with a capital H.
yeah.
Illegal immigration.
Because I wasn't at that game yesterday, but you had the judge there and all of the folks who took it was a naturalization ceremony.
Yeah, naturalization.
Because they took their oath to become U.S. citizens, and my answer would be,
yay! Yes, absolutely.
welcome.
I've been to one of those. because
Yeah.
my wife is a
I-
naturalized
so you
citizen.
better
so
have shown up.
my goodness, those things are, it's like tears all around. Everybody's
Yeah.
waving their little American flags. Everybody's really, because it's the culmination of actual work,
A lot of it, too.
actual money paid out for various things, and it's all in an expression of a desire to be part of the American fabric, as opposed to people jumping fences, climbing over these things, smuggling themselves into the country to do something else.
Yeah, give me free stuff.
Yes, exactly.
You owe me.
Oh my gosh, the entitlement of the modern day illegal. Maybe back in the day you could say, well, they're just trying to get a better life. The entitlement of the modern day illegal immigrant, it makes all of that stuff pale in comparison.
All right, 314-912-1019. By the way, speaking of Busch Stadium, the Brewers scored 3 in the first inning, did not look back from there. Cardinals took another one on the chin at Busch Stadium last night. Cardinals pitchers gave up 3 home runs. Final score was 8-2, excuse me. 8-2. You give up 3 home runs, you're probably not going to win the game.
No.
Final score, the final game of that series, it is the early one actually today. First pitch is at 12:15. Miles Michaelis on the mound for the Redbirds.
Are you going to? You're going to the game today? No? Maybe not.
Maybe. I'm not sure.
Okay. Because I know you like to go to those afternoon games.
Yeah, I got a game tonight. I got to play.
Okay.
So I don't know, because if I
You
go,
might
to the
need a
game,
nap.
Yeah, if I go to the game, then I don't really get a beer at the ballpark anymore because all they show is InBev stuff. But I'm like, yeah, I got a game tonight at GCS Stadium. I'm playing at 6:30. So I don't know. Maybe. We'll see.
Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson in the morning. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
A little light fog and dampness out there this morning. Temperatures in the low to mid 60s. A cloudy day with some spot showers and maybe a thunderstorm as we get into the afternoon. They're going to be very hit and miss. The high temperature 82 degrees. Very similar tomorrow. Lows tonight in the mid 60s. High tomorrow 82 degrees with a 30% chance of hit and miss showers and thunderstorms. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
Live and local.
Well, here's what's on my mind. I think I got the solution to immigration.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
What is a Wow Diamond? Wow Diamonds are named for their brilliance. Newstetter's Fine Jewelers carries Wow Diamonds. Our team at Newstetter's Fine Jewelers will show customers how the cut of the diamond impacts the brilliance of the diamond.
Newstetter's Fine Jewelers for Wow Diamonds are located at 2961 Doherty Ferry Road. That's at Big Bend and Doherty Ferry, and online at wowdiamonds.com.
This is a scary time when it comes to your money, especially if buying a home. That's why you need Homestead Financial Mortgage. I know the owners, met the team. You can trust Homestead will be with you every step of the way. Call 24/7 with any question or concern. Homestead is on your schedule, not banker's hours. This is not just about buying a home. It's about trust. You can go to my website, larry.homesteadfinancial.com. larry.homesteadfinancial.com.
It's your last chance to cut a deal at Seidenstricker Nobe Partners. Save up to $5,000 on select John Deere compact tractor packages with our exclusive 10-year warranty. And we're offering 0% financing for 60 months with zero down. Get your John Deere equipment by shopping online or visiting us at any of our 28 locations. Let's cut a deal now before it's too late. snpartners.com.
Offer valid through 9/30/2023. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Want to tell you all about professional irrigation, proirrigation.com. How'd your lawn do this summer? You tired of dragging hoses all over the place, back and then again? Did you know that Professional Irrigation will do a custom irrigation design for your property, and it will just take one day? We did it at our Jones home years ago. We've never looked back. Professional Irrigation also installs landscape lighting to accent the architecture of your home, making your neighbors envious. They offer fertilization packages as well, and they have great financing options. 636-692-4441, proirrigation.com. That's proirrigation.com.
St. Louis's place to talk.
The American people have further lost faith in our governmental institutions.
People can decide what they want and how they want to live.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
Hey, this is Todd Showalter. Join me for the Right Mind Show on Saturday at 5 as I try to put some fun back into this wacky radio station. And speaking of wacky, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Had an interesting thing happen yesterday, and I don't know if this is just me because I had a flat tire a couple weeks ago, but I'm getting ready to leave the radio station yesterday, just do a little bit of editing on some of my stuff, and my daughter calls.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, hey, what are you doing right now? I'm like, no, I'm almost wrapping up here. She goes, oh, you're still at the radio station. I'm like, yeah. She goes, perfect. Can you run by my apartment, which is not far from here?
Okay.
I said, yeah, what's going on? She goes, well, I have a flat tire. I'm like, oh, yeah, I can go help you with that. So I pull up there, and it wasn't flat. It was like really low. And so I'm thinking, yeah, I think you ran over a nail or something. It was like a slow leak kind of situation.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, but I know how to change my tire. I'm like, okay, great. I'll help you change your tire. Then you can go to the tire store or whatever. And I'm thinking, all right. I said, well, make sure you have a tire. She goes, well, yeah, there's one in the back.
Sure.
Great. She gets in there, pulls the thing out, opens up, no tire.
There's no spare tire.
No spare. There's a place for a spare tire.
Okay.
But there's no tire.
So an empty well?
An empty well. And a couple weeks ago, I just bought a new car like 3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Not new, but a new car to me.
Newish.
Newish. It's It's a 2019.
Yeah.
And I actually had a flat tire a couple weeks ago because I pulled up to one of my baseball games over in Sauget, and there was actually a piece of rebar.
Oh, geez.
Sticking out of one of the the culverts there, and I hit it. And I mean, it tore through the tire. I mean,
would have ripped it to shreds.
Oh
I
goodness,
imagine.
yeah. I mean, big old hole. It was huge.
Lucky your rim's undamaged.
And exactly. It hit I'm lucky that it hit the tire, not the rim.
Mm-hmm.
And so I am like, well, crap. All right, I'll play the game or actually, I got there because I get there like an hour before the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what? I'll just put the other tire on. I'll be good to go. No tire. There's no spare tire.
No spare.
There was an empty well for a tire.
Now, do you know why that is?
Yeah,
right?
because and the funny part is because I was asking around, and apparently no cars. You buy a car right now, you're not getting a spare tire.
Right. Yes.
It doesn't happen. You have space for it.
Yes.
You can fill it yourself, but you don't get it yourself, and that is so stupid.
Yeah, and there's a reason for that, and it's fuel economy. Because the government sets standards for the fuel economy, the reported fuel economy for all new cars as they are produced, as they leave the production lines of all of the automakers. Now, in order to meet those standards, generally speaking, you can't increase the efficiency of the internal combustion engine any more than it already has. They're computer controlled, so basically, they're going to be they're as efficient as they can. So the only thing you can do is save weight. And how do you save weight? Is you remove the spare tire. I mean, even way back in the day, you remember there was a time where most cars had a full size spare tire, right? It was exactly the same tire as the rest of the car.
You bought 5 tires.
You bought 5 tires with your car,
and that spare was filled with air.
And the spare was filled with air. so then it went to donuts. The reason it went to donuts was for weight. Because the whole rim is smaller, right? So it's a smaller thing. There's less of a compartment that it needs to take up and all these other things. So they saved weight by reducing the spare to a donut, and now they're reducing weight even more by getting rid of the donut entirely.
So what does an actual tire weigh? 30 pounds?
Well, yeah, I'm like a full size tire. Yeah,
full size tire.
Yeah,
maybe 25 or 30 pounds.
Yeah. And then the donut itself is like what, 15?
Maybe.
Right. So the thing is, all this stuff adds up though, and it benefits the average of the fuel efficiency of all of their vehicles across all their lines, and that's the number that they have to report to the government.
So I was stranded, and my daughter, had this happened anywhere else, would have been stranded because of government regulations leading the car companies to say, let's save 25 pounds somewhere to try to meet some regulation and standard there.
Exactly. That's what we're talking about here, because the thing is, the government regulation on fuel economy is an attack on the technological innovation of the auto industry. That's really what it is, because it's saying, I'm demanding a performance out of you. I'm demanding that your engineering accomplish something that may or may not be possible.
I actually was on the phone yesterday with Phil Kerpen from American Commitment, and we were actually talking about some of the upcoming Biden administration energy efficiency rules. Not even the EVs can meet the standards that they want. I mean, for instance, I bought an SUV. but 3 weeks ago or whatever. I drove to Huntsville, Alabama, and back. Not even a month ago or something, right after I bought the vehicle, and my average miles per gallon was 30 in an SUV that had a bunch of baseball equipment in it and stuff. So I was very, very happy with that. And so apparently the government needs to protect me from myself, because had I ended up hitting a whatever on the road and having a flat tire, I would have been screwed in the middle of Alabama.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, and the thing is, you would have sacrificed the 3 or 4 miles per gallon difference for having a
Would it be that
donut.
much, though?
Maybe.
For 20 pounds? 20, 30 pounds?
It's over time. It's over.
Oh, okay,
It depends. But the thing is, even if that was the amount of savings you're getting from just that one change, the government still requires it. You can't say, okay, well, we're going from 29.8 to 30 by getting rid of this tire. We need to hit 30, because the government requires us to have 30 plus or whatever as an average, or whatever the number is.
The government says, forget safety issues.
Right.
Well, oddly enough, they're not forgetting the safety issues. So all of your weight has to be used on the strength and the robustness of the materials in the crumple zone. So now, okay, now I have to get rid of metal here. I have to use plastic here. You remember when fenders used to be able to just be repaired? You just pop it out.
Yeah.
That was because they were made of metal.
Right.
And metal can bend.
But I meant the safety issue of having a spare tire.
Oh, well, then
so you're not stranded out in the middle of nowhere.
Nah, who cares? Who cares about
that?
That's not a federal regulation.
You know how you can get even more miles per gallon is to not have gallons and just drive a Flintstone car.
Yeah, use your feet.
Good God.
That's the next thing they're going to. Well, if they keep this up, I think Ford might have to produce some Flintstone cars where it's pedal powered, and then that will count towards their average fuel efficiency.
Don't give Jim Farley any ideas, the CEO, because he'll take you up on that.
Yeah, because my daughter, she says, well, I need to go buy another tire.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, it's going to cost you a couple $100, I'm sure, if you get a decent one, but yeah, do it. Absolutely.
Honestly, I'm wondering if that might be a way for them to get around some of these things is just produce a line of just little micro compact cars, or you've seen those trikes that they have out here. They have 2 wheels up front and 1 wheel in the back.
Yeah.
And you drive around. Some of them you drive around like a car. Some of them you kind of lean over like a motorcycle.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if they could save some of their fuel efficiency numbers, by making those, just entering that market.
Meanwhile, that empty well that's in the back, they can promote that as a picnic well. You can put picnic items in there.
A picnic basket.
A picnic basket.
I think I'm going to follow my daughter's idea there, and I'm just going to go buy a tire myself just to have it there.
Well, you know what? They sell those.
Yeah.
It's an aftermarket. And that's they're trying to take advantage as best they can.
Yeah, but if I'm going to buy one, I'm not doing a donut. I'm going to have an actual tire.
Full size.
The funny thing is, because there was the stuff to change a tire, there was just no tire.
Yes. You can buy that full size tire aftermarket from the dealership.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I mean, it'll cost you $5,000.
Sure. Exactly.
Because it's the government.
Because it's the government.
All right, just ahead here, we're back to suing over whose fault is it when you spill something on yourself.
No.
Yeah, we're back to that.
No.
It happened again.
Oh, no.
I'll tell you what, personal responsibility, or is that restaurant liable?
Here we go.
Here we go. We'll talk about that 8:51 here on 1019-94.1 News Talk STL.
This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, 99.1 HD3 and newstalkstl.com. Get up. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote and accelerate the development of quality Christ-centered K-12 education.
Hi, this is Daryl Jones, president of the Herzog Foundation. We have an exciting new training opportunity available for public school and Christian school teachers. The Herzog Foundation Institute has partnered with the Bill of Rights Institute to offer 4 training events in 4 Missouri cities this year. These day-long professional development opportunities are best suited for middle and high school civics, government, U.S. history, and social studies teachers. Middle and high school teachers have a unique opportunity to strengthen civic knowledge and values for the next generation. We want to help teachers seize this opportunity.
Visit herzogfoundation.com/events to learn more and register for a Bill of Rights Institute training event near you. herzogfoundation.com/events. herzogfoundation.com/events.
Imagine a firefighter bravely maneuvering through smoke-filled corridors and a police officer tirelessly searching for a missing child in the pitch black of night, illuminated only by the feeble glow of a worn-out flashlight.
Be the light in their darkness and provide new tactical flashlights throughout Missouri by giving just a few volunteer hours of your time.
Volunteer with the David Dorn Foundation to be the guiding force for those who protect us, our first responders. Visit dornfoundation.com now.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Hey guys, Columbo here, reminding you that if you belong to an organization like a school or a church, or your kids are part of a group or a sports team that needs to raise money, there's no better way to do so than with a TJ's Pizza fundraiser. TJ's Pizza has been helping local organizations raise money for over 30 years to the tune of tens of millions of dollars. A local company helping local people, and there's lots of different ways TJ's can help you raise big money fast. Get started now at tjspizza.com.
Hi, it's your buddy Todd Showalter with The Right Mind Show. This Saturday at 5, we're saving America and our sanity with fun guests that'll put a thought in your head and a smile on your face. Kind of like that, don't you? Along with my buddy Joey V and Admiral Andy. Plus, we have King Kirby with DiscountCoffee.com. Hey, we're putting the fun back in our dysfunctional world. It's The Right Mind Show this Saturday at 5, right here on News Talk STL.
Columbo and Katie.
Tim Scott slammed Trump and the other GOP presidential candidates for being wrong on abortion. We'll speak with Dr. Randy Tobler about this at 3:05 on Thursday and catch up with Justin Sparks.
Weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Dan Bongino here. Keep it on News Talk STL because my show starts at 11 a.m. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Those crazy nights I do remember in my youth.
You guys remember that story from years and years ago where the woman sued McDonald's because the coffee was hot?
Yeah.
And she spilled it on herself and she got burned?
Yeah. It's like, now, the more I learned about that situation, the more it became, it's like, oh, okay, well, maybe she actually did have a case, maybe.
Because it was really hot
coffee. It was like, yeah, it wasn't just, hey, that's hot coffee, let me blow on it for a second. That was like, destroy your body hot coffee.
Scorching hot.
Yeah, but why did McDonald's have the coffee so hot back then?
It's like, how is that even possible?
Right, but why did they have it that hot? Because customers demanded it.
Really?
They wanted really hot
like
coffee.
Super hot
They
coffee.
wanted hot coffee. And believe me, I know what hot coffee could do.
Mhm.
A lot of people know, we've talked about, I'm a third-degree burn survivor.
Right.
And if you look real close, you can see some of that it was coffee that burned me.
Oh, was it?
When I was a baby.
I didn't. Oh, right.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
That's right. You did say that.
I was a toddler and I tipped over the pot of coffee while it was brewing.
Oh,
and that's how I
man.
ended up getting burned and
Wow.
having all that happen.
Okay.
Golly, I had that happen with bacon.
Oh, no kidding.
As a
Oh,
little
bacon
kid,
grease?
and
Man.
I reached up on the stove and flipped over a skillet that had bacon in
Woo.
it and burned my arm.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, we're back to that.
Okay.
With
we
the coffee
go.
thing. Okay, so a lawsuit's been filed by a woman against McDonald's.
It's
Again,
McDonald's again. Oh, jeez.
So
I
this-
can't catch a break.
No.
I'm not loving it,
Not
apparently.
loving it, yeah. So this happened in San Francisco, and she was left with burns after the lid of the coffee, she says, was not on there securely. So what happened is Mabel, her name's Mabel, she's 85 years old, and she went through the drive-thru, and she tried to take a drink of her coffee, and she says the lid wasn't on tight, and it came off and spilled down her
off,
chest and into her
yeah.
lap, and she said she got burned.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
So the lawsuit claims that Mabel suffered severe burns and emotional distress And this says she has some scars on her legs, on the inside of her legs, and she still has some pain, although the lawyer says that she is recovering nicely. The burns are healed, or mostly healed at this point. And the argument is that after attending, after going to the doctor, they advised the doctor to go to McDonald's and report the incident to the manager.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yes, you should do that.
Sure, yeah.
She went back to the restaurant, asked to speak to the manager. The workers went to the manager's office. Nobody came back out. So I think they ticked her off. A little bit of customer service can go a long way in these things. So she said, that they basically dismissed her and laughed at her and stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah, so the restaurant, though, says, no, that's not the case. The restaurant says that they have very strict protocols, including lids. Listen, I have gotten plenty of drinks, coffee, and, other drinks at fast food and at different restaurants. And there have been a number of times where you grab it and the lid is not on right. That happens all the time.
Yes.
So I have never had this happen because I guess I'm just in the habit of making sure the lid is on. I just instinctively press it down.
Mm-hmm.
So whose fault is it that you went to take a drink and the lid was not on there? If you're the one that bought it, you had it in your hand and then you went to drink and it spilled.
It's a good question. I mean, and one of the things that I've had happen to me as well is I squeezed my cup a little too tightly when I picked it up, and I popped the lid off because of the way I squeezed the cup, because it deforms a little bit, and they're designed not to stay on there exactly like that, right? You got to be able to get it off. So I don't know. I think there's definitely an aspect of personal responsibility here.
She's asking for $25,000.
Okay, that's not a ton.
That's not a huge amount of money,
No.
which is probably enough for the McDonald's, folks, whether it's a
they're gonna
franchise
settle.
or whatever. They're going to go fine. Whatever.
Yeah, their insurance will cover it.
Now, remember the case where we originally talked about was in the early 1990s, which I thought it was a little earlier than that, but I guess it was the early 1990s.
Yep.
A woman was scalded by McDonald's coffee because it was so hot, and a jury awarded her $2.7 million.
Yeah.
Now, that was reduced to about $500,000.
Right.
But that's what got everybody kind of tuned into the idea of this super litigious, ridiculous, suing everybody for everything type of thing.
Now, and the other aspect of what I heard about that thing was that she was holding the coffee in her lap.
Right.
Like she had it in her thighs.
Right.
So
at the drive-through.
At like she was driving away with it.
Right. She was driving away with it, and which we've all done that with. I've done that with cold drinks.
Yeah, exactly. But never a hot
Never
drink.
done it with a hot drink.
And again, not in a little bendable cup that'll pop the top off if you squeeze it too hard.
Right. Yeah. So whose fault is it?
I think that was her fault.
I think it's hers as well.
Yeah.
But I think she's going to get paid.
Yeah, absolutely. $25,000. They're going to settle that easy.
Yep. All right. Vic Porcelli coming your way just ahead here on 119-94.1 News Talk STL.
Vic's going to have a hot show.
Scalding
show.
Mark McCloskey here, and my friend Mike Lindell and his team at MyPillow are having a big sale to celebrate their 20th anniversary and the sale of over 80 million pillows. Mike and his team want to thank everyone by giving you the lowest price in their history. The MyPillow queen-size pillows that are regularly $69.98 are now just $19.98, and for just $10 more, you get a king size. MyPillow's patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs to help you get the best sleep ever. Patty and I have slept on MyPillows for a long time, and we just got our new 2.0 pillows and a set of Giza Dream Sheets, and we love them. Go to MyPillow.com to get queen-size MyPillows for only $19.99.